2026. I am calling to the work session of the College Park City Council, College Park, Maryland. We'll begin the meeting with the roll call, starting with District 1, City Council Member Jacob Hernandez.
What do I do?
Present, right? Councilmember Hill. Councilmember Hill.
Present.
District 2, Councilmember Jordan.
Present.
Councilmember Simmons.
Present.
District 3, Councilmember Oates.
Present.
And Councilmember Anker.
Present.
District 4, Mayor Pro Tem Mackey.
Present.
And Councilmember Mitchell.
Present, Mr. Mayor.
Thank-
Councilman Ranker's actually out right now.
Thank you. We'll be watching. Thank you. Now we go to the amendments to an approval of the agenda. I hear that there will be 2 amendments and entertain a motion. Councilmember Mitchell.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to move to remove the item from the agenda, the Bike and Pedestrian Committee,
And add
and add the budget work session in its place.
with the budget work session moving, but rather being discussed in the
The
beginning.
first item. Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed or abstention? And we need another motion, right, to approve as amended?
I move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed, any abstention? So the amended agenda has been approved. And it was approved by Councilmember Ranker and seconded by Councilmember Hernandez. And I should have done it before. All right, so we'll go to the first item, which is the budget amendment work session. And I will turn this to our city manager, Mr. Young, and Mr. Ali probably will be joining as well. Please come forward. We need you. Thank you again for your hard work.
I was for sure. Good for you. I mean, too. So here we go. You go first.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our. Is it not on? Oh, it is on. Okay. Welcome to our second session of our work session on the budget. Please excuse, a lot of the slides were made before, made those before the most recent changes. So I handed out this sheet beforehand, so I think each one of you got it. The top sheet is the combination of everything that everybody wanted to add to the budget from the original work session that we had. And I think each one of you have gotten this sheet and was able to review it and go through each one. I did them pieces at a time on the presentation because I didn't want it to be too small for you to be able to see on each of the slides. So, just running through those real quick, and I'm going to kind of go off the sheet that I handed out because it has a little bit additional information on it. And, starting with the first one is CP Cup. It's a reoccurring. And, going through each of these and just skipping down to number 7. This is the Metro Underpass maintenance. One reason that it was taken out was because there's already planned maintenance and it is built into the budget already. And so we didn't see the additional $15,000 was necessary because of what was already planned for that maintenance. Then skipping down to number 13, which is the credit card evaluation. What we are planning on doing in the finance department is to look at those fees that were being charged and look at other alternatives and kind of doing an in-house study on ways that we can save on fees for the credit cards without having to actually pay for a study. I think we can do that very efficiently in-house. So we did remove that one also. Then skipping down to number 15, this was the owner-occupied and rental study. The director of economic development said that he'd be able to absorb that study in his current budget. So we did remove that $30,000. He has funds in his budget that he said he could be able to use for that. And so that would be along with the new position of a housing person to go along and go with that and work together on that. The next one is Vision Zero. There's already $450,000, a little bit over $450 in the budget. And so the director of planning said that that would be enough for this year. And then there is money allocated for next year also to continue that. And so that is on the plate to be done. It's just we thought $450,000 for the first year would be plenty, if not too much, that we could roll into the next year to continue that. And then skipping down to 21, with the contract police, adding more money to it. We did add additional police in the budget already, plus we increased their wages by approximately $5 for each shift per hour. So we thought that was enough for now for the police to get us in line with what we need in the policing. And those were all that we really talked about. And then moving into what was sent later, I think you got it in an email. It'd be the next page on your handout. These are the one-time let me skip down to going in order of the sheet that I handed out. Is the this is a lot that's going into CIP. Sorry. Okay, these are the one-time payments that we are looking to go into CIP, and of course that are from a lot of the requests that were made for CCTV, adding $30,000 into it, bike racks, $10,000 for that, and more renovations for the parish house, the employee bonus, the Rhode Island red light study, a parking study, and the resident rental study is the one I just talked about that was going to be absorbed into the budget already, and then $500,000 into the property acquisitions. And the reoccurring charges that for some of these were combined, like communications and outreach. These were two items that were combined to $50,000 increase for CP Cup, and then $14,000 for Neighbor Helping Neighbors, student internships, Hispanic parent group, the core groups for youth and family services, the literacy program also in youth and family services, the full-time, making the housing project manager full-time and starting at the beginning of the budget year instead of at the end. Also, tree removal, it'd be like a grant for the tree canopy program that we have going on, and also the new neighbor grant, $100,000 for that one. And in the sheets that I gave out, the next sheet would actually be the summary if we did include each of these items in these last two recommendations. And as you can see in the summary sheet, each of the highlighted areas are each of the departments that would actually be affected by this. And as you can tell, many of the departments have a change in what their funding would be because of these changes. And when you get down to the total expenditures of $28,838,562 before contingency and transfers, and then this is a new contingency. It does include the original $125,000 contingency for any emergencies that may come up, and then the additional $75,000 contingency for bonuses for employees. So this changes the amount that would be moved from general fund into CIP to $2,160,141, and using some of the excess fund balance of $964,875. And then the debt service remains the same, of course, for the total expenditures and transfers and contingency of $31,526,454, with including of that $964,000 use of fund balance. That does bring it back to a balanced budget, and leaving us $12,124,757 at the end of the year in fund balance, which is still a 42%, which is well above the required 25% by the charter, and then also well above the 35% that, speaking with the bond raters, that they'd like for us to stay at, so we can keep our AA1 rating on our bonds. And so we're still in very good shape at that 42%. If you follow back through the rest of the sheets, you can see where I show each of the highlighted areas. The yellow highlights are the ones that are reoccurring charges and how they affect each of the different departments. And as you go through, you'll see, first of all, the mayor and council, the two that they have listed, and then moving through, I show the contingency being put back into the city managers of $100,000 instead of it was a little right at $125,000. So putting that back in, and then economic development, the funding there is for the full-time housing manager position, and then communications special events. We have the civic engagement and the Spanish insert combined together on the other special services of $50,000. Then when you get to parking, as you notice, that turns green, and that's because it's a one-time, and it's for the parking study. And traffic enforcement is the Rhode Island light study for $25,000. Planning and community development, $200,000 for the new neighbors grant, and that's an additional $125,000. It already had some in that for the homeowners grant program. And youth and family services, it's an additional $80,000 for the 3 programs that were added to that one for youth and family services. On the next page, in your seniors program, also in youth and family services and neighbors helping neighbors, that's an additional $14,000 for it. And then in the tree and landscape maintenance is an additional $40,000 for the tree removal grant that was brought up and requested. Contingency, as you can see, there's $75,000 added for the employee bonus. And then we move into CIP, and as you can tell, CCTV was brought up to $105,000. Facilities capital reserve was brought up $10,000 for the bike racks. Old Parish House was increased to for the additional renovations in that area. And then lastly, we have the property acquisitions of adding $500,000 to that. And all of those are one time for the CIP. But as you can tell from this latest proposal, that it does leave us in very good position with a very nice fund balance to remain there. and it also able to provide a lot of the programs that you have asked for, and most all of them were able to be brought into this budget. So that is what we have at this point. Sure.
Thank you so much. That's very helpful, and thank you for adjusting the items that the council will be discussing tonight. So we will be working on the list that is on the back side of the first page, that means page 2, with the 2 tables we have. So that is the up-to-date list. These are the requests council members made, and the way we'll be going over the list is this. And I had a chance to talk to each one of them, and I don't think I have left anyone. How we are going to do it tonight, there are, I believe, about 20 items. What we are going to do, we'll go one item at a time and then discuss a little bit, very briefly, and then take up-down votes, and then move on to the second item. That is, I think everyone likes, based on my conversation. And please, we are a big council, 9 people, including myself. So please make or keep your remarks or discussion or points pretty, as short as possible, unless you have major things to talk about. So let's. Is that okay with everyone? Looks like head nodding. So let's go with the first one, with the communication and outreach. I'm going to let the council member colleague who actually suggested to talk about briefly, maybe 30 seconds. Who is the one? I'm trying to remember. Is Councilor Hernandez?
Mr. Mayor, this was prepared by Councilmember Ranker, Councilmember Oates, and myself. I just tried to help save some funds and give the discretion to staff by putting it into a smaller item that's a little bit more general, communications and outreach. This is where I would like to have included the Spanish insert into the Here and Now, who's currently using Spanish in their articles now. So in that portion, that it would be in the spirit of language accessibility and trying to engage more residents, that we bring them in. But I don't think it's just independently mine. I think that we share it with Councilmember Rinker and Councilmember Oates.
Thank you. Do you want to say additional?
Yeah, well, but I have some maybe more fundamental questions first. The revised list, who did that?
That was the
It was
collaboration.
staff or no?
Staff was the one who printed it, make the list, but I believe Councilor Hernandez was also involved in that.
It was everybody, right? So there was at least 3 or 4 email threads, of which some of them started breaking off because folks were asking the directors for personal questions, and then I just synthesized. For instance, I think on one of the code enforcement questions you may have asked, will the 20,000 be enough? And then so I just went off of that feedback and then just removed it, since he said that it could be absorbed.
Because, for instance, I did not see which number was tree removal canopy.
I believe that
You
was.
mean in
we
which-
have it.
Which
number.
budget?
Well, is it in our 1 through 25 somewhere that I missed?
The only reason I added the tree removal one was because of one of the emails that came back from Director Shannon. I don't know.
Because that's news to me. That's a new one to me. And I also wondered, I saw that the contingency fund went from 125 to 200, and I just wondered if there was a council member who asked for that.
It went to 200 because it was 125, and then the $75,000 employee bonus went into contingency also.
I see.
So it's 2 different lines in that same budget.
In that same one.
Yes.
Great.
To Councilman Ranker, your question about the tree removal, I was the one that asked it and was in my budget wish list. The $40,000 was to assist those individuals who do need to get the tree cut, but financially aren't able to. So this will be a grant type program that will come through the city.
We'll come to it. Thank you.
No, but that's helpful to know where I hadn't seen it until just now.
Thank you. So it looks like you're good with the list.
I mean, not really, but that's why we're going to discuss it, right?
Yes, I mean the way it is, but then we'll go over it, and I do not expect everyone to be supporting everyone. That's fine. So we are on the number 1, which is communication and outreach. Mr. Hernandez, are you done with your comments? Pitch.
I feel like we're getting a little wrapped up. So it was my item, it was Ranker's item, Councilmember Ranker's item, and Councilmember Oates' item. I just spoke about the methodology to get down to 50,000 and combine it with communication outreach, so that it would give it, like it would task it out to someone in the staff, right?
Certainly.
So, but I know that what you guys had said at one point was more focused on trying to get folks involved and engaged. And I'm super supportive of it, and like you have my 100% support. I just don't know exactly what your vision was there.
Yeah. No, and I think I don't have a problem kind of putting it together as long as it's clear that's what it's for, is the inserts, for example, and door-to-door outreach. I think as long as we're clear that that's what the money is for, do we have a division of how it is?
In that line item, there was no money in that before, and it has a footnote on that line in the communications budget where I added it for that 50,000, and it does have civic engagement and Spanish insert on that same line. So yes, it is.
Great. And did we get an idea of a better idea of what the insert would cost?
If I can address, no, we have not had an opportunity yet to look into that, but I think we're clear on what the intent is for these funds, both for additional Spanish language outreach through an insert perhaps, as well as civic engagement, which may include door knocking, but perhaps we can also look at other tools as well.
Councilmember Ranker, on my part for the inserts, I'm just gonna let them negotiate. Like whether it's, and that's just from my perspective, right? Like you can buy an ad, do something reoccurring. It's the space, but I can see your concern if that eats up most of the 50 and you're trying to figure out something.
Thank you. I see some hands. Who was the first? I didn't. Mr. Hugh, please.
Okay, so these are two different lines that have been combined that we're discussing, which is starting to make it messy. But so separating it out, as for the door-to-door knocking thing, I'm sorry. That is something we work a lot on communications as it is, and if there's a pressing issue, sidewalk issue, or what have you in my district, I will go do that door-to-door knocking myself. And I think that's part of your responsibility. If you have a pressing issue that impacts the residents, we should not be having to have a new hire just to do that.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Mackey.
So it's just for District 3 then?
No, it's not.
It's the
So
intercity.
that's enough for it to be done, a door-to-door knocking for the whole city?
I think whole city.
The idea is not that it's a new position, but that there are groups that you can hire to do door knocking around a specific issue. It's a way to widen the communication strategy, especially with folks who aren't plugged into the ways that we normally advertise things, like some of the great programs that we have. So it's an attempt to get to especially more marginalized folks in the community in a more, I'd say, sustainable way than just relying on, council members to do it.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem?
I just have a.
Could you give me an example of what kind of use you would be doing this? And I'm sorry, I just can't get behind this one.
Let's go to Mayor Pro Tem first.
I just have a quick question. If staff could please find out how long the grant that Councilmember Denoga and Fisher and Olson did, and then let us know what the difference is, how long it lasts, and then what it would cost at your soonest convenience.
For the College Park here and now.
For the here and now. Thank you.
Yes, we can certainly look into that. It may take some time. I think the way that the funding is proposed gives us a little bit of latitude to have some negotiations with the here and now and look at what our options are.
Thank you. Who was, Councilmember Oates? and
So-
then
Yeah, I wasn't really talking
Councilmember Simmons,
Yeah.
Orson Simmons.
I was just going to suggest that perhaps we not work session exactly this right now. I think the question before council should be, as part of kind of aligning our resources to our priorities, do we want to spend more resources on doing outreach to the people in the city? I think we can have future conversations and work with staff to identify explicitly how council would like to do that, or we can decide, hey, we budgeted for it and we don't want to spend it. But I would say that would be my approach.
Councilmember Simmons.
I do think if we moved forward with this item, I would want to maintain flexibility for it to maybe not be an insert in the here and now. Maybe it's an advertisement in a Spanish language newspaper, some other thing after staff has done some research into what the best way to reach folks is. I don't know that I know enough about door knocking to have an opinion on whether that's an effective method either. I guess my question is really for staff. I know that we already are dedicating quite a bit of funding to communications. Is this necessary? Is this duplicative? Are we already doing some level of this work?
Thanks for your question. So when it comes to communications, right, we try to hit as many people as we can through a wide array of methods. And I think, so currently we don't do any kind of door knocking, and there's a few reasons for it. One is staff capacity. Also, we're in a kind of interesting political climate right now. So there are some kind of safety and some sensitivities that we want to make sure that we are aware of. So that's where we aren't doing that. But if you're asking if there's additional outreach, of course, there's so many things that we can do in terms of additional outreach. And I think a lot of it just is about a capacity. Like, for instance, UMD has first look fairs and all these kind of things to try to reach student populations. We struggle to attend those because we don't have staff that can go to them. Or, even trying to do other kind of community engagement, meetings or things like that. It's, again, there are definite opportunities. There are ways that we can do it. It's just having people to do that, right? And also having people knowledgeable that can speak on a wide variety of topics, that can kind of go out and talk about those different outreach things. So yes, there's absolutely room for improvement. There's a lot of things that we can do. We try very hard with, what we have to make sure we try to get the word out as best and as widely as possible. So I hope that kind of answers your question.
I think it does. I guess it leads me to ask, is there capacity to make use of this $50,000 in the kind of broad strokes way that has been described?
I think what we could potentially look at, and there's lots of different options, right, and opportunities. One could be potentially is to look at, say, contracted position, like a community and outreach position that's contracted. It's not a full-time, not a staff position. That kind of looks at developing strategies, that goes to these kind of events or goes to these activities and improves relationship with our community, can be bilingual so they can be in different places. I think part of it is also being where people are. We want to make sure that we are not, always saying, well, you need to come to us. We need to also be where they are. And so these are ways that we can also do it through that kind of aspect. And of course, providing materials for it. So if you have, where potentially say you have like a contract position, you could also budget through that as well, materials to go specifically for, whatever needs that they're going towards. So there's lots of different options. I mean, so this is just one. There's lots of different ways to do it. So just as a
Thank you.
hypothetical.
And I'd like to answer a little bit there. I think it could be part of a broader communication strategy that we have. We do have a number of residents that we never hear from. And so if there's a way that we can help identify those that we don't traditionally hear from in the populations that we have within the city and talk about, what are some of the strategies that we could apply here and at least give it a shot at and see how it works. I mean, I don't think that is a big lift in terms of our overall budget to be able to do that. And I think we could definitely have like a work session that really kind of helps us kind of define that a little bit better before we'd implement that strategy.
Thank you. I think we spent a lot of time already. If the council is ready, we can do the straw poll right now. If that is okay. Is that okay? Let's let's do very quickly from the end.
Could you explain what the purpose of a straw poll is? Because I'm not really
Yes,
understanding
yes or no.
that. Okay.
Yes or no.
But Mr. Mayor, you're saying that this would mean that it is included in our future discussions.
No, we are approving the budget.
We're not approving the budget. We need to have a public hearing.
We
Mr. Mayor.
are approving this to be included in the final budget that is going to be adopted.
No,
No,
that's going to be
clarification.
presented to the public.
Yeah.
There needs to be a hearing.
I know there's steps, but it will be added to the draft budget.
But
Okay,
We
so-
all know what is going to happen.
So, Mr. Mayor, I think what we need to clarify and get a level set is, this is going to be added to the preliminary budget that
Yes.
will be proposed to the public.
Correct.
That will have a public hearing. Still, at the time, there may come some changes, amendments along the way. But you're just trying to get a first glance at who is in alignment with line
Exactly.
number one. Okay.
Yes, yes. There's always an opportunity to amend in the end before it is adopted at the May 20.
Mayor, and if it could, it does definitely help us make sure we understand what the budget line items are going to look like. So whether it's an upvote or a downvote, we plug that in, and then what goes to you, what goes out to the public for advertisement is clear, and you still have the opportunity to make your decisions on the overall budget.
Thank you. Let's do the straw poll. Yes or no?
Mr. Mayor, Councilmember Hugh has a question.
So
Make it brief, please.
this budget line that we're voting on, communications and outreach for $50,000.
Yes.
It's two different topics in there. So we're voting
Combined.
regardless of the two different topics.
Yeah, we combined. Correct.
Just here for the, okay.
Okay. If you
Excuse me, Mayor. I just want to make it clear, it's not a formal vote. We're using the term, it's more to get a consensus on how to proceed moving
That's right.
forward with the budget.
That's why we are using the term straw poll instead of the vote. All right. Can I see the hands? Yes or no? Maybe like this. So, I see the positive ones.
We have to do it.
Okay. Let's
I
call.
think it would be better if we call it out.
Okay.
So we can,
Councilmember Hernandez. Yes.
Yes.
Councilmember Hugh.
No.
Councilmember Jordan.
No.
Councilmember Simmons.
No.
Councilmember Oates.
Yes.
Councilmember Anker.
Yes.
Sir Mackey. Mayor
No.
Pro Tem Mackey.
No.
No. Councilmember Mitchell. So I've got only 3 votes in favor, so it fails, unfortunately. Thank you. All right, let's move to the second one, which is
Excuse me,
Sippy Cup.
Mr. Mayor, for consideration,
yes,
we
please.
can't make another recommendation? Because I would like to make another recommendation.
Can you do that at the end, maybe?
At the end of what, sir?
Going over everything.
I think if it's relevant to this, we should
Yeah,
just knock it
do it
out of
now.
the way.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay. Mr. Mayor, I would like to split it out and do communications 25 and outreach 25.
And you'll be voting on like that, as breakdown as a whole, but you are defining
Splitting it
more,
out.
splitting out in 25. Should I take the vote again? Councilman Hernandez.
So which one are you taking it on?
The proposed 50,000 again, but 25 plus 25, more defined one.
Mr. Mayor, may I make a recommendation? If Councilmember Mitchell can just explain really quickly for the body what outreach is and what communication
problem.
is. Huh?
No problem, Kelly. No problem, Kelly.
Oh, yeah, just so that everyone can then say
Okay.
yes or no, and then we move on.
So it seems like there's a little bit of a hesitation to combine, and so to make it cleaner and crisp, to split it out, because outreach has its own defined mechanism for what it needs to be done. So 25 for that, and 25 for communication to broaden and enhance the engagement process with our residents.
Okay, thank you. Councilor
Which
Simmons?
one's the insert, ma'am?
The insert.
Oh, that's the communication, or is that the outreach?
Communication.
Should it take separate votes? First 25 and then another 25? Please use your mic, Councilor Simmons.
Just very quickly, I think I am struggling with this exercise. In my mind, I'm comparing all of these things against our community development planner position, which has gone unfunded due to budget constraints, and our planning department is at very limited capacity because of that. So that's just where my mind is at with many of these things.
That's fine. Thank you. So,
I also wanted to say that I think the order of this is confusing me too, because there are some quality of life issues that are not getting into the budget, and I know we can't do it all, but I think we might have to put this on the back burner, this one. I'm not actually opposed to the spirit of it, but I am concerned that if we vote all of these in, we're not going to have money for some of the other things that, like Councilmember Simmons just alluded to. So that's why I'm having trepidation myself with that
thank
one.
you. So, so we have two items. Can we take one at a time? 25 plus 25. Councilmember Mitchell, what is the first 25? Councilor outreach. Can I take a straw poll on that?
Well, I just wanted to get some clarification about the communication part. I guess that's the insert. This trying to continue the funding that's grant money for the current pages that are the 4 pages insert.
In addition to that,
So-
there will be Spanish.
But so my feelings on this is grant money that funded this, and I think there's still grant money out there to continue funding this. So, until we find that there isn't monies out there for this, then we can consider funding it. But just to fund it just without doing that outreach about funding it is.
So there are two
Yes,
different
for-
things. One is outreach, the other is the insert. to
Clarification.
college program.
Is
So
outreach in
my
this-
understanding was that the grant funded the College Park Here Now to provide its reporting in multiple languages. I think what this money is for the city's insert to be also in multiple languages.
This is an ad money, am I
So
correct?
it's not related to the actual reporting, which is funded by the grant, I believe, and council member, correct me if I'm wrong, that this was for the city's insert, which currently is, I was told, only in English. Is that correct?
That's correct, Councilmember Oates. So and this is not for the door knocking first vote that we're going to have here, but the second vote for, I guess, communications insert. And it's really just to enhance the reach and capacity of what we have. So we currently have I think 4-page inserts, or an English page insert that the city sponsors, and it talks about the different events. My vision of this was that an additional insert would be there, but it would be dedicated to Spanish, piggybacking on the vehicle that the Here and Now has started doing Spanish outreach to Spanish speakers in the city.
All right. Can we take a straw poll? I think Councilmember Mitchell, you're suggesting to take the polls separately. The first one is outreach. Am I correct? It's $25,000 for outreach. Let's take the vote. Councilor Hernandez.
Yes.
Councilor Hugh.
No.
Councilor Jordan.
No.
Councilor Simmons. We'll catch later. Councilor Oates.
Yes.
Councilor Anker.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mackey.
No.
And Councilor Mitchell.
No.
We do not know how Councilor
Just
Simmons.
give her a second. She'll be back.
Oh, yeah, she's back. On the outreach, what is your vote?
That's the door knocking.
Door knocking outreach? No. Okay, so we have 3 to 5, so it fails. The second $25,000 is for College Park inserts.
Insert, yes.
And this is an ad money in Spanish.
It's not ad Spanish. They're not
Am I
ads.
correct? Isn't ad money?
So We're talking about the insert that the city has,
In the
adding
middle.
an additional page or two of Spanish language content. And
Right.
as, we spoke earlier, giving staff the flexibility to see, work with the here and now and determine what the
Okay.
best vehicle is for that.
Okay. Yes.
Councilor Hernandez, yes. Councilor Hill?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, okay. Councilor Jordan?
No.
Councilor Simmons?
No.
And Councilor Oates?
Yes.
Councilor Ranker?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mackey?
Yes.
And Councilor Mitchell?
Yes.
Yeah, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 to 2. So it passes. It's been added to the draft. Okay, let's move to number 3, which is increase the NHN budget. NHN means neighbor helping neighbor.
What about Sippy Cup?
$14,000.
CP
Oh my goodness, because I did. CP Cup College Park City University Partnership, $10,000. Who's going to pitch it first? 30 seconds.
Just to be clear, this is the original was 275. They asked for a $14,000 increase after something like that, and it was
10,000.
just a 10. So this is their request to increase
Yes.
by 10.
Oh, so this is already the requested. It's not you're adding on top of 10,000.
There has been up till now. There's been zero increase in the budget from the previous year.
Correct.
No, last year we increased the budget. Do you know what the number was there, Shannon?
In 2025, it was increased from 265 to 275, and then this current year it stayed at 275, and so this is asking for another 10,000, like it was 2 years ago.
And I'm not. I cannot believe I'm carrying this water. She.
I love where you're coming from.
My back hurts. So, when Miss Hartman of the partnership presented to us on Saturday, she had asked for $10,000 additional to the currently requested $275,000. In the spirit of good partnership, and after we had asked her to do a quarterly report, I added it in here. And I think my ancestors will be proud of me.
They sure will.
Thank you. Can I
I
take
second.
any question? Okay, let's do a straw poll, starting with Councilor Hernandez. I believe yes, because you wanted it.
Yes.
Councilor Hill. Sippy Cup. Yes or no?
You can say no.
Can I come back?
I'd split the difference.
Okay, that's a different proposal. So for no. Councilor Jordan.
No.
Councilor Simmons.
Keeping in mind that the university matches our money, yes.
Okay. Councilor Oates.
Can I change my vote, please, to yes?
Okay. Yes. Okay, Councilor Ranker.
Yes.
And Councilor Mackey, Mayor Pro Tem Mackey.
Yes.
And Councilor Mitchell.
And I think you missed me. I also
Yes,
said yes.
I think we have enough, except 1 no. All right, that's good. Was there any proposal to make it $5,000? But that is a no. Okay, let's move to number 3, which is increase NHN budget, Neighbor Helping Neighbor budget to $14,000 by $14,000. Who is going to pitch?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I think that Neighbors Helping Neighbors has done an awesome job in this past year in supporting a lot of our seniors. And I think it's no more than right to give them additional money. We've seen that they have operated with limited funds and try to do the best. And this is the right direction to take moving forward.
Thank you. Very nice. Nicely put. Councilor Hill.
I agree with Councilmember Mitchell. This last snowstorm really woken up the community about this service. And so I think that more seniors will start participating in this. And it's not just snow removal for a historical snowstorm that we're trying to fund this, but this is for ongoing projects like non-service and regular snow removal. They're seeing more and more participants in this. The current contractor that they're using is deeply discounting the work that they're doing. So I think to be fair to this contractor, to be fair to the ability for neighbors, helping neighbors to help as many neighbors, that seniors that are in need in our community, I fully support this one.
Thank you. Anyone wants to speak before take the roll call? All right, let's go. Councilor Hernandez. Yes. Councilor Hill? Yes.
Yes.
Councilor Jordan?
Yes.
Councilor Simmons?
Yes.
Councilor Ertz?
Yes.
Councilor Ranker?
Yes.
Councilor Mackey?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mackey? And Councilor Mitchell. Okay, that's good. So the first time we got 8-0. Fantastic. Student internship, number 4. $22,000. Is Councilor Ranker going to pitch?
Yeah, we currently have 11,000-ish in the proposed budget. This would, which is enough for one per district per year. This would up it so that there would be 3, so that could align with a spring semester, a summer, a fall semester, for example. It's something that we've been hearing a lot from many of our residents who are students, that they're in need of internships. It's something that our student liaisons have really pressed for and championed, and I think it's a great opportunity not only to give them give students an opportunity to work with the city and learn about the city, but also for us, we have an intern right now who's doing a great job at helping inform our neighbors about some of the different amazing programs that we have in the city.
All right, anyone wants to pitch?
I just want to clarify. So
Question?
it's an $11,000 increase to what's already in the budget, or a $22,000?
It's a 22 increase, so it would be
33.
So it goes from 11,000. Right now, there's 11,000 in there now for one, and so this would triple. So I mean, it's increasing it by a two times amount.
Why do you need to do triple, not double?
If we doubled it, it would go from 1 per district per year to 2 per district per year, and this 22 is to make it 3 per district per year, so that it could be a summer also. You could have a spring semester, a summer, and a fall semester, for example, if that's how the district wanted to do it.
Question, Mayor Pro Tem Mackey.
Yes. I just wanted to, I support internships. I know that the students need internships, and with the climate that we have in the federal government, it's sometimes hard for our students to get internships. My concern is, I have 2 things. My concern is some of the other things that, like the one thing about the housing project manager position is a little bit less than what I had thought that we needed. So that's my trepidation on that. And my second thing is that I have really enjoyed working with my colleague. We've just started the process on internships, doing it together. So I wanted to clarify, are these council together internships, or are they separate? Could I please have a clarification on that?
Potentially separate, right? Because they have the ability. Sorry. Any other question? Councilor Ertz, you had a follow-up question.
Yeah, I was just going to comment. I think it's up to I think what this enables is for there to be more than one intern within a particular district, but it would be up to the members in that district to decide whether those are overseen together or separately, would be my suggestion.
So it's up to the money might not be spent in the end if they don't use it. Councilmember Mitchell.
Just for clarification, how much is it again per semester that we're giving for the intern?
Well, it was $11,000 a year. They can only work 500 hours per semester.
But what's the dollar amount?
It depends on whether it's an undergrad or a grad. It's $20 per hour for an undergrad and $25 for a grad.
25 for a grad?
Per hour.
Per hour, and 500 hours.
They can only work up to 500 hours, yes.
Well, if I could clarify, I think like our intern is 75 hours total, right?
Right.
So each district has 75 hours essentially right now of.
No, they can work they can work up to 500 hours. You guys chose to do him at 75.
Councilor Simmons, questions, and then Councilor Hill.
I think there may be quite a bit of variability between the different districts in the ability to use interns. So we currently have allocated to student internships. I'm not sure that seems, I think that's assuming that every single district will have a maximum, like an intern once per semester or running concurrently or what have you. And I don't know that is the need uniformly. I think if there is more need for interns, then perhaps we raise it by some amount that would not triple what we currently have budgeted, perhaps doubling it or increasing it by 50%. I see also my colleague down there has a thought or a question, perhaps it's related.
No, Mr. Mayor, our deputy student liaison wanted to give a comment, if it's possible for him.
Please go ahead. It's a work session. It may make it brief.
Yeah, so I just wanted to talk to the importance of student internships because as a student myself, like I've been through the process. I know how hard it is to find internships, and especially to get one during the semester. It's nearly impossible, especially with federal budget cuts and all of that. So one thing that is like very important to note is I'm a double degree with public policy, and one of the major requirements is that you have to work an internship during the semester. But it's very hard to find internships during the semester. So because of that, a lot of students have to push back their graduation date, or they can't graduate at the time that they want to. So that's why I feel like having this allocation for student internships, depending on how you guys want to split this up. I know there's a concern that some districts might not have as much of a need for an intern, but if another district wants to take up more than 2 or 3 interns, that's also another option. Or splitting up like the pay or the amount of hours in a different way. But I do think it is necessary given the current climate. And then also additionally with these student internships, you are getting value out of them. Like, for example, I know this isn't the same thing, but Nick and I, we had our own student liaison advisory council, and that was crucial to getting stuff done because we could do so much more research and we could find out different things that we wouldn't have known before. So it will be a huge value add in terms of you guys in your roles that you have now.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I just can add that I appreciate you giving that viewpoint. And some of the interns don't have transportation. So having something here locally does help support them. I will go back down memory lane. We used to have a partnership with University of Maryland for interns every semester. And some of us had 2 or 3 interns apiece. But that was just in conjunction with the university. And I do see value added. If you have one that's per district or 1 per council member. It does bring value added. If we're trying to get people into local government and for them to understand public policy, this is where it starts.
Thank you. Are you ready for vote? Not yet, Councilor Hill.
Yes, so I know that we funded this in the past years ago, and it hadn't been used for a long time because staff wasn't prepared to deal with the time. This is when we were still in the old city hall. We didn't even have as many staff as we have now. I do have an intern that I'm working with right now, but it seems to be a lot more time involved. I'm wondering, this is more of a question for staff. Are we ready to bring on these many interns and work with them?
How much administrative work do you have to manage them?
It's not too bad. We have to make sure they get paid and enter them into payroll, and also place the ads and go through the resumes. But I would say it's not too stressful.
I don't think it's a big lift for us. It depends on the major, as to where we have available work within the city. So we know we have everything from engineering and GIS to planning. We've had economic development interns. We've had communications interns. You name it.
I have a question based on that and a proposal. I guess, are the student internships for city staff as well as council members, or are these just council student interns?
Only council, mayor and council.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well we've, I'll say in the last few years, we have had some interns that were from the particular council members, and they said, hey, can you find a place for them in a project for them that works for them and it works for us? And that's kind of the trade-off that we've always looked at, is sometimes council members don't have that kind of time to dedicate to overseeing an intern, and I think we understand that.
Thank you.
I am curious, based on all of this conversation, it does seem important to allocate funds to this. I am curious if we would be interested in doing $11,000 additional dollars instead of $22,000, so doubling what we're currently budgeting instead of tripling it.
Councilor Ranker, are you okay?
I would like to keep it at the 22.
22,000. Let's take a straw poll on 22, and then it can move to 11. We'll consider your request. How about that? Ready? Councilor Hernandez, $22,000.
22.
Yes. Councilor Hill?
No.
No. Councilor Jordan?
No.
Councilor Simmons?
No.
Councilor Ernst?
Yes.
Councilor Ranker? Yes.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Mackey?
No.
Councilor Mitchell?
Yes.
So we have 1, 2, 3.
Mayor Kabir's first vote.
1, 2, 3, 4.
First straw poll.
First straw poll. Excuse me. First straw poll.
First of all, oh my goodness.
2 years, 2.5 years.
I'm so lucky. My vote will be yes. Thank you, because I like to see more work to be done, and hopefully all of us will keep the interns busy. Thank you. I don't think we need to go back to.
Now we need to talk about the actual internship, though, probably.
Yes. Make sure you use the money. Hispanic parent group, $15,000. Is that Councilor? Who is going to pitch?
Are we not going to vote on the actual student internship, whether we want? Oh, are we all supportive? So okay, sorry. I didn't even know what I voted for. Oh, that's dangerous. So, straw polled, I mean. Yeah,
we're moving
it's
on
like,
to
I'm just so glad to see all the directors here, like, smiling through the hard work. We're greatly appreciated.
All right, Mr. Hernandez, you're up on the Hispanic parent group.
Thank you, Councilmember Ranker. So the Hispanic parent group offers something very unique in the sense that it's a group that our Youth and Family Services supports, that we're never going to know anything about those people. And I think that's exactly how it should be. But I would say that the folks that participate, and we can ask right now, Director Barber, the folks that it does support have a safe environment, especially in these current times, where they can find community and become more involved across the city in the different programs. What I'm asking for is for the council to consider enhancing their current budget by $15,000 to enhance the quality of the programs delivered by the Youth and Family Services for this particular program.
Okay, thank you. Any questions before I take the poll? Seeing none, Councilor Hill, you're yes, right? Because you're pitching. I'm taking the vote. Sorry, Councilor Hernandez. What did I say?
Councilmember Hernandez says yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Jordan.
No.
Councilor Simmons.
Yes.
Councilor Oates.
Yes.
Councilor Ranker.
Yes.
Councilor Mackey. Mayor Pro Tem Mackey.
I'm going to say no, and I also want to just recognize that we still have things that we need to put money towards. I am not opposed to this. Originally, it was 10,000. I could have gone for that, but there.
Okay, thank you. So you're looks like you're no. And
Yes.
Councilor Mitchell? Yes.
Yes.
So we have got 6 to 2. Yeah. So it passes. 14. Let's add $15,000. Let's do YFS core groups, Youth and Family Services core groups. $15,000 is again Councilor Mitch, sorry, Hernandez.
Nope, Councilwoman Hernandez. So similar to the Hispanic parent groups, the Youth and Family Services Core Groups provides a number of different activities that allow some of our residents who participate with our local youth service bureau to be able to learn a lot of different just adult skills, everything from being able to bond with their children to learning how to cope with some of the more difficult times. It's my request from the council to consider enhancing their budget by $15,000. This would allow them to be able to enhance the quality of services that they receive and may possibly, and I'll just ask Director Barber right now, expand the amount of programs available to them.
Any question? Councilor Hugh and Councilor Jordan. Let's go with Councilor Hugh.
How much is already in the budget for this? What line? What Youth and Family Services?
This is currently in the Family Summit account, and there was a question about it in the council questions that were answered in the before the meeting. So there's $6,000 in that line right now. Someone brought up that it increased from $1,700 in fiscal year 23 to $6,000 for the last 2 fiscal years. If I might add, this is the first year that YFS has been first full fiscal year that YFS has been fully staffed in a long time, and we have seen that we are actually able to get into the schools, do more groups in the community. Middle school group is starting next week. You'll see that in your biweekly report.
Director Barber, can I ask you a question? How many families participate in these programs, or total people?
Right. So, again, in fiscal year 23, we ran one additional group outside of the Hispanic parent group. This year, we have done 6 to 8. We're looking at possibly getting 8 group cycles. Each group cycle serves 6 to 12 youth and their families at a time, with each cycle lasting anywhere from 4 to 10 weeks.
And just one follow-up question: what would $15,000 be used for if we decided to straw vote for it?
I would break it up into a couple of different core areas where these groups are occurring. Groups are occurring at Youth and Family Services, groups are occurring in school settings, and groups are occurring at referral from the Prince George's County Schools Safe and Drug-Free Schools program. We are one of the top referrals for students needing to have some who have had an infraction of drug and alcohol, and they have to get counseling and a write-off from a counseling agency in order for them to return to school. We are one of the few that provides these services in English and Spanish, so that number has grown exponentially over the course of this year. So I would, in each of those 3 areas, curriculum, training, experiences, that's how I would break up the money if we were afforded the additional funds.
Thank you. Councilor Hugh has a question, right? Then Councilor Jordan.
Yes. So, and this is just for College Park residents when you go out to the schools, or are we servicing all the parents at the schools?
About almost 65 to 70% are College Park residents. We do receive some county funding, so the balance are from surrounding neighboring, but they're all typically from College Park neighborhood or boundary schools. Say Cherokee Lane, for example, we've expanded a group there. It's one of our boundary schools. So about 70% are College Park residents.
And you're saying that the previous budget line was at 6,000, and we're talking about adding 15,000 to it?
That is the proposal at the time.
So total budget will be 21,000. Correct?
It's because it was. And my only explanation to that is because it's been grossly underfunded, and over the past 10 years, as I understand, the Youth Family Service Bureaus have previously been funded by the state and the county, and quickly but surely, just due to budget cuts all around, youth service bureaus have lost their funding. So this is my recommendation for this.
Thank you. Any other question? Councilor Jordan and...
So this is, I appreciate everything that you do, and I support all of the work that is done. I just want to explain that my hesitance tends to be that these are recurring items, and while it's true that we as a council, of course, could decrease that later. That isn't something that I think is best suited for these kinds of things. That if you have a program and then you put time and money and infrastructure into it, that shouldn't be taken away. And so that's the reason that if I vote no for these kinds of things, that's why. Thank you.
Let's go to Mayor Pro Tem and then Councilmember Hugh.
I wanted to ask Ms. Barber, does this include any kind of preschool things, like for families with, we have a lot of families with young children, and that one of the questions. Thank you.
I would add that Youth Family Services serves youth and their families with youth as young as 2 in actual clinical work. We have clinicians that work in child-centered play, and we see families as young as 2. Again, in the bi-weekly update a few weeks ago, we had a really successful first-time Saturday group, parent-child filial group, where parents with children and even infants are taught therapeutic methods of play and to deal with a variety of things that family might be doing. It might be divorce, might be trauma, might be grief. So it's not preschool in terms of the educational component, but we do touch families with youth who are in the infant stages.
Thank you. And where's the Councilmember Mitchell? Is that Councilmember Hugh first, then Mitchell?
So you'll see this is a recurring thing with me about these numbers. It's like, I know we just chose a number, 15,000, which is way above what was in the budget. I want to hear from the directors, what's the real number you need? Because it's not like I don't want to support this, but I want to be realistic about how much money we put into this.
Yeah, thank you for that question. I think that's a really valuable question for me as a director. One of the things that I'm a social worker, so I'm used to, and we have great support from the city. We're going to provide services. $15,000 is something that we can be good stewards with the money and spend and enhance the programs. With $6,000, we're at providing a basic program. The clinician and the people are coming, and there's a pizza from a modest pizza there. Or, to be honest, I've got clinicians that are getting a rotisserie chicken and making chicken salad in the Youth Family Services kitchen to serve, and cutting out construction paper and making books and stapling and things like that. We can get it done. $15,000 would enhance. We could buy workbooks. We could buy curriculum. We could enhance that safe and drug-free schools. Provide some additional training for the groups that we're having. Maybe we could expand and make groups. So it's a growing program. At $6,000, we get the basics. At $15,000, we can enhance, and that's what I could say with the recommendation.
Thank you.
But it could use more money on these things. But I'm like a realistic number. I feel like the comparisons are so extreme. I can see doubling it, but this is more than doubling it. So it's like
I understand.
A real number where we all can get behind.
Thank you.
I'm looking for.
Thank you. Let's see who is next.
Yes,
Councilmember
Mr. Mayor,
Mitchell.
I just want to say thank you to Ms. Barber for bringing this up, and thank you to Councilmember Hernandez. For my colleagues, I remember years ago when Ms. Higgins was here, we were funded, and we had the opportunity to do many robust programs. And since we have been in decline, and now we have this opportunity to add this additional money, I think people need to understand this is like wraparound services. It's family sustainability. It helps families to have a foundation, and many of them don't have a place to go to learn and to learn how to be good parents, learn to help their children to have the best quality of life. And if we say that we're one College Park, then I think this, for me, is a start. And I would truly be supporting this.
Thank you. Councilmember Simmons.
Thank you.
Then
Just
the technical.
briefly, it does seem like the work that you're doing is very important. I do appreciate that you and our city manager and our director of finance prepared a budget that had a specific number in that line item, and I do trust that number, and I appreciate the work that you're doing.
Okay. Are you ready for the vote? Roll call. Councilmember Hernandez.
Yes.
Councilmember Hugh.
Yes.
Yes. Councilmember Jordan.
No.
Councilmember Simmons.
No.
Councilmember Orts. I'm struggling. Can I come back?
Yeah, come back immediately.
Councilmember Rankin.
Yes.
Councilmember Mackey, Mayor Pro Tem Mackey.
Yes.
and Councilor Mitchell. Councilor Mitchell, yes or no? Yes. Your mic is off. So I think we have enough vote, Councilor Urs. Okay. Thank you. So let's add it. Thank you, Director Barber. Thank you for coming and giving information. Okay, let's move to number 7, literacy program. I believe it's in Penn Branch School. It's Mayor Pro Tem Mackey, I
This
think,
is
was the
me.
one.
So over the years, we've been pushing out education. It was one of our OKRs that we started in 2020, and both EAC and Ms. Barber's group has done a wonderful job in pushing out educational opportunities. The reason that I put this in is twofold. One is that we have some other schools that could use some literacy in the schools, and also we have adults in our community that could also benefit from English literacy. So that was my reason behind this. I know it's a large amount. I would like to see support in this. I know that it's a heavy lift for our staff, but I know that they continue to amaze me with the things that they get done. So I hope that we will fund this and put this into their capable hands. Thank you.
Okay, so the ask is $50,000. Thank you. Any further comments? Councilor Ranker and Councilor Hill.
Yeah, I mean, by my count, we're spending something around $200,000 in different public school grants or education support services, Lakeland Stars. In general, I want to have a work session around this to figure out where we're spending money, where's the right places to spend money, and really consider if it's the right amount. I mean, this is another one, and I think this is what Councilmember Hugh was kind of talking about in the last go-around, is what is the right number compared. So my preference for this is to say no right now, but then to do a work session around it and
So
take those recommendations.
can I thank you for waiting. So in the Hollywood Elementary School, we have a similar program. Am I correct? And how much do you spend there?
The council has approved just over $40,000 for a
Okay,
tutoring program
so-
that provides in-school additional tutoring support at Hollywood. And I believe that's what Councilmember Mackey is referring to, that same sort of program expanding to
Right.
some other College Park schools.
So you have a benchmark. That's what I'm trying to say. Thank you. Councilor Hugh?
Yes, this seems more of a county budget line sort of thing. I would support tutoring. Come with us, and like I agree with Councilman Ranker that we could do a work session on this to come up with a real number and real services rather than just having an ideal to just throw a big figure at.
Councilor Simmons?
I love literacy. I was a literature major in my undergrad. This is a no for me. I respect my colleague also very much, but no.
They do. We all do. Thank you. Looks like Councilor Ors, do you have a question? Final?
Yeah, I was just going to say I would just agree with Councilmember Ranker. I think thinking more holistically on how we're using our existing education spending and I think work sessioning something before adding something like this in the budget.
Let's take the poll. Councilor Hernandez?
Yes.
Councilor Hill?
No.
Councilor Jordan?
No.
Councilor Simmons?
No.
Councilor Ors?
No.
Councilor Ranker?
No.
Councilor
Yes.
Mackey? And Councilor Mitchell? Okay, we've got 1 to 7. So this, 2 to 7. My apologies. 2 to 7, it fails. 2 to 6, okay.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask a question?
Please.
In alignment with Councilman Ranker's request, is there opportunity to set aside that $50,000 for, in case after the work session, we do put it back in?
We can always amend it. We haven't adopted the final budget. And we can have a work session as well. Sorry, Councilman Jordan?
I think If I may, that Councilmember Mitchell is asking if we could have a straw poll for setting aside $50,000, not necessarily saying how we're going to spend it, but once we have a work session, which I think there is interest in from the body, that we would have that already budgeted. Is that correct?
We can always do budget amendment. It is not the final thing, so you can always do budget amendment if that is helpful.
Can we
Even
not
after
just
budget
do a
is
straw-
adopted, we can do budget.
I understand. Oh, so you're saying that it would not be helpful to do a straw poll now that this is what the body wants?
Unless you want. But there is a flexibility. Okay. You can always add money later on.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. All right, let's go to number 8, housing project manager full-time, $55,000. Councilor Hernandez.
No, I just had a question on this one. So, and just a clarification for this number. So, I think there's other people that could defend this a little bit better than I can. But, one, this came in partnership with a housing study that was going to be in the consulting services, as we understand it, of the $175,000 line in the economic development. Can we please confirm that?
That's correct.
Okay. And then separately, I think one of the concerns that my colleagues had was the starting salary in line with the seniority. I didn't know what to do with the number, but I know that we weren't shooting for anything at the originally pitched 80,000 plus benefits. I don't know if this 55 is the equivalent of the 110, 130 range. Of course, it all depends on who you hire, and that's your prerogative, Mr. Young. But I just want to make sure that that number captures that, so that everybody gets the same baseline information here.
So just to clarify, we went back and looked. This position would be listed at a grade 115, and so at mid-salary level, it'd be 111,000 plus 25% for benefits. So total of 138, and there are no steps in this grade. It's only a range.
Thank you, Mr. Young. Mr. Mayor, I pass it on to whoever wants to pitch this.
Is that Councilor Ranker?
Can I say one thing real quick, Mayor? Also, the amount that the city manager just mentioned is actually put into this budget. So these numbers are correct in the budget. The number that was on that sheet is not.
Is incorrect. Okay, thank you.
These are the correct numbers.
Go ahead. Who is going to pitch it?
I can speak to this, and I might defer to my colleague in a moment as well. I think, so currently the housing manager is budgeted for a start date in January. I think understanding that we just had a report from our Affordable Housing Task Force and making moves on their work, it seems like making moves on that a bit earlier would keep the momentum going. And understanding that there are things afoot like the early lease ordinance and the work with the ADUs, and understanding also that this was the second housing affordability was the second highest priority in our resident budget resident budget survey. All of those things I think makes sense for them to come on a bit earlier at the start of the fiscal year.
And maybe then you can clarify for if it's 55,000, when would the start date be? You know, if we had somebody and ready to go.
Well, I think the thing that we'll have to do is just make sure I work session with you all on exactly the expectations council has. I think we could get that scheduled coming up here sometime in the summer on one of our schedules, and then be able to advertise after we have that work session. So it's possible to get him on, he or she on sometime early August or so.
And this is enough money to start in August, is what I'm asking. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. Question, Councilor Hugh, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you. I think this is something we can do with consulting services to begin with until we actually know what the position is going to be requiring. I think we're putting the cart before the horse right here. right now. I would like to hear more from staff about their feelings on this. As for, is this something we can address? It's multiple issues and address it with different contracts, or contractors, or consulting, because I'm not sure that throwing a new position at this this point is the right answer.
Thank you. That's a fair point. Are you still in support of spending $55,000 on consultant instead of a full-time FTE?
Mr. Mayor, I should clarify that 55,000 maybe is not the right number, right? I think Director Olive had shared that he has the proper number. I don't know what that number is, but either ways, I think the discussion here, the reason that this was put on this list was not because of a contracting role, but for a full-time position. It's what we advertise to the public. If my colleague wants to introduce a consideration, I'm all about considering it across the body. But what was presented to the public, what was presented in the city manager's budget, was a full-time employee position. We're just talking about the starting range, which was expressed by my colleague.
Okay, who else wants to talk? Are you ready for vote? Paul?
Well, and I'll just say, I mean, we need some good expertise, and I think that's what the Affordable Housing Task Force shared, and they threw out a lot of ideas. We know ADUs are coming. They talked about rent stabilization. They talked about, of course, strategic affordable housing. And so the sooner we get started on this, the sooner we can start addressing what's a big issue for us and really communities all around the country.
Thank you. All right, let's do the straw poll. Councilman Hernandez.
Just to make sure, just to be clear, we're voting on
Housing Project Manager full-time FTE position, $55,000.
Well, we're straw polling on whatever the actual Director Olive.
It's 111.
111. Okay.
Yeah, it's 111 total. Yes.
The delta is something in between whatever it was, right?
And it depends on the qualifications and how much experience that person has, where they're going to fall in that scale. So it could range anywhere in there.
Right, but I think
the lowest is starting at 82,000 plus benefits, which is about 25%.
And just before I vote here, but I think staff has the direction that most of the body wants a more senior role. Correct? Okay. Councilmember Simmons.
Staff can correct me if I'm wrong on this, but I think what we see on this line is essentially an earlier start date. Like the money accounts not for a different salary or a different, some whatever within the range. It's just bumping up the start date from January to a little bit earlier. Is that correct?
Yes, and on Saturday, whenever you were looking at that and you were saying it needed to be a higher level, we did recognize that it was actually put in. It was actually, when it was originally started, it was put into a placeholder at the wrong amount, and that's the amount you were looking at. But what the number that's actually in the budget is the correct number for that grade and step, which is quite a bit more than that. I think you were looking at $69,000 is what it was for salary, and then plus 25% for benefits. What it is actually is the very lowest step would be 82 plus benefits. So it could go from there according to their experience.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So just to be clear, I'm voting for it to be an earlier start date instead of the latter start date.
It's the starting date. It's not.
And whoever is going to budget the budget is going to budget.
Thank you.
Yeah. Yes.
I just wanted to make an observation to share with my colleagues. The $30,000 for resident versus rental study is going to be taken out when we get to the one time, and so that will be done by someone under this, right? Mr. Williams, am I thinking right? Or okay, I'm sorry, I'm putting you on a spot. So we're taking the resident versus rental study and putting that in economic development, which is this position is in economic development, correct? No. The housing project.
That is correct. This position is going into economic development, and the residential versus home ownership versus rental property study was also going to be coming out of economic development.
Okay. I just was trying to think of the money. Thank you.
That is only fun. Okay, thank you. Ready for Mr. Paul? Let's do.
Yes.
Councilor Hernandez, yes. Councilor Hill?
No.
Councilor Jordan?
Yes.
Councilor Simmons?
Yes.
Councilor Orts?
Yes.
Ranker?
Yes.
Sir Mayor Putamaki?
Yes.
And Councilor
Yes.
Mitchell? So with a 7-0, 7-1, it passes.
So, Mr. Mayor, the next up is tree canopy, tree removal for $40,000. This is a line item, a budget wish list item that I asked with city staff. This line item is one that will give opportunity for those individuals who are working with the DPWT and Mr. Wigglesworth and need the tree removed and unfortunately do not have the financial means. And we do have several seniors who are on fixed income. So this is just a grant program that will be run through the city staff and hopefully will help those individuals who do need to get the tree removed and for us to keep maintaining our tree canopy.
Again, the ask is $40,000. Any questions or comments before take the poll? Mayor Protem.
And just to make this clear, this is for all residents that are in a financial quandary, not just seniors. Thank you.
Yes. You guys.
And just to be clear, this is not for our heritage trees that we go to great lengths to protect, correct?
That's
I wasn't thinking about the heritage trees. I was just thinking about in general the disease trees. Those are bad.
Right. No.
After the arbor, yes.
I'm supportive. I just want to make sure that we have a
We
tree
hear it.
ordinance and we
Yes.
want to make sure that we're protecting the trees. We have a whole tree landscape.
certainly.
But I understand the financial. It's expensive to bring down a tree. I think it's like $2,000 to $3,000 maybe. Oh,
Goodness,
okay. All right.
$6,000.
See, just my ignorance of the world.
Okay. Councilmember Simmons, questions?
Question for staff. If there were a hazardous tree, is that something, the removal of that tree, would that qualify for one of our emergency assistance grants?
We did go through a qualification through family services, but it could be. We have done that.
Thank you. Ready for vote? Let's do it. Councilor Hernandez.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Jordan.
Yes.
Simmons.
No.
Councilor Orts.
No.
Councilor Ranker.
Yes.
Councilor Mackey.
Yes.
And Councilor Mitchell. You've got 6-2, I believe. So, yeah, it passes. All right, the last one on the recurring agenda list, item list. New neighbor grant, $100,000. Who was the one who requested?
So just a quick feedback on that. I put that number in because I think Councilmember Oates had said 50 to 100,000. I think it was him and Councilmember Kelly who were in.
Councilor, sorry, is it Oates? Can you pitch it?
Yeah, so I know that on a future agenda item, we have to discuss some changes to this program. I think the amounts that are currently given as part of the new neighbor grant have not been adjusted for inflation since at least 2005. So I think that there's a need to reconsider what, if we intend to have the exact same impact we had 20 plus years ago, we will need to increase the amount of the grants that we're giving out. That will be on a future agenda item for us to talk about and consider, but I wanted to use the opportunity as part of our budget to consider increases so that we can adjust for inflation or make whatever other changes we would like to make in that future work session.
Okay.
Thank you.
Councilor Hill.
Yeah, I need more details on this program and what's currently funded.
Okay. There will be a work session coming, by the way. Right, and there's some changes. Councilor Orts actually requested that. If there is no question, let's take the poll. Councilor Hernandez. New neighbor grant, $100,000. Yes or no, Councilor Hernandez?
So you're doubling the amount. So what exactly, can someone explain more about this program, please?
It has been one of the oldest programs, actually. Staff, someone from staff, can you talk about that?
I believe she's back working. Michelle's going to try and find her.
Can we move to another item?
We can come back.
Okay. We can come back on this one?
Here she is. Here she is.
Oh, okay.
New Neighbors Grant Program. How does it work?
Ms. Barbara, people wants to know about New Neighbor Grant Program, and everyone is telling you're the expert.
Okay. What the New Neighbor Grant Program is, it's to encourage home ownership. So if there's a resident, if someone's moving into College Park, this money goes towards the down payment. So it can range anywhere from $5,000 to $15,000. In this year's budget, we only have $10,000 left for the remainder of the year. So it's been a very popular program, and it encourages, as I said, to turn rental properties into owner property, homeowner property, and or people that move to College Park to help them with the down payment so they can own a home.
So, how is this different from what the already existing partnership, live and work in College Park?
It works with it. So the university or the partnership has their program, and then City of College Park has our program, and we've had our program for a number of years. I mean, this is just ongoing.
And there are some differences in the criteria, right?
Correct. We also, a couple of years ago, we added an incentive for police officers, so they get $15,000, which the university doesn't have that part of it. And then also, we have an added incentive if the property was rental and now it's converting to owner occupied. Then there's it's $10,000 down payment. So the university program doesn't do that.
So is that included in the partnership when they go to the partnership and apply for the grant, the Live and Work grant? Is that already built into it, or do they have to apply for that separately?
Oh, they apply for it separately, but the university will process the whole thing together. So we're not processing together.
They need to know about that little extra bit about it previously being a rental that's been becoming a homeownership.
I'm sorry, what was that?
So does the partnership automatically look into the fact that that home was a rental that somebody's purchasing and add that extra layer to it?
No, so the partnership doesn't recognize that. The partnership, it's just if you live and work in College Park, then they give you the grant. It doesn't have that rental aspect to it.
Okay, so the person who's buying a house has to know about this and to apply for it.
Right. So we do want to increase advertisement. Getting the word out, because we're not sure if everyone knows about it. It's sort of word of mouth, or the real estate agents know about it. But yeah, we'd like to encourage that.
So you say we have 10,000 left for this fiscal year?
Yeah.
And how, so there's just, I'm a little bit confused about the money in the sense that part of it goes into the live and work part. And then there's...
Okay, so not this money.
This money is separate.
This money is just for the
Totally
city
separate.
program.
So someone may qualify for both grants. If
Yes, they can qualify for both. And so, one of my staff members, she administers it, and then she works very closely with the university, so they work together with it. But sometimes they'll qualify for one and not the other. And sometimes they'll qualify for both.
Okay. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I can just interject, I think with the monetary amount, this is just another tool, one or two kit to help reinforce individuals to come to College Park and to buy housing and, as we say, own occupied homes and live here. And this is one way to continue the process. And I think we just need to move on and take the straw poll.
Thank you. Looks like everyone ready. Let's start with Councilor Hernandez.
Yes.
New Neighbor Grant, $100,000. Yes. Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Yes. Councilor Jordan.
Yes.
Councilor Simmons.
No.
Councilor Orts.
Yes.
Councilor Ranker.
Yes.
Councilor Mayor Protemaki.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Councilor Mitchell, with a vote of 7-1, am I correct? It passes. So we are done with all the one-time, not the one-time, recurring budget wishes. So let's move to the second bucket, which is the one-time bucket on the list. First one is CCTV, $30,000. Is it Councilor Hill? Is that the one requested?
Yes, CCTV. So our current CCTVs are old. They need to be upgraded, replaced. Our CCTVs are concentrated in downtown area. We have issues in the North College Park. We have the Beltway there, where people would jump off the Beltway, do something, get back on. We have some major arterial roads. We have commercial districts that are plagued, that have no cameras. So I would like to see cameras added. I'd like to see that the program to upgrade and replace the cameras that are needed to be replaced is funded. And staff might not be quite ready for a figure just yet, because it's an ongoing process to figure this all out right now. But I want the money to be there for them to hit the ground running when it's any opportunity that comes up for them to do improvements on this.
Sure.
And Mary, so we're actually, it lines up. We already have 80,000. This was an add to that 80,000, so that'd be $110,000. That would complete the first phase of the project, and we can get that started. We actually will be bringing in, an item probably to council here shortly that kind of outlines what we need to do for that.
And that would include the residential camera as well, for $80,000.
The residential, in terms of the existing CCTV cameras that we have, that would be upgrading.
Okay.
Upgrading those.
It's in the public space.
It'd be the ones that are mostly within
Trolley Trail,
Calvert Hills, Old Town are the first phase, and then we have in future phases
mostly
Trolley Trail, yeah, and a few other locations.
There is one in Davis Field in North College Park. Just it's been a while. Anyway, so this is $80,000 is a replacement. You're saying, upgrade, correct?
Yeah, it would be a replacement. I mean, it would be replacement from one system to another. Correct, Dad? It's a transition. Let's say transition. So, but we will bring you a more comprehensive, so that you can see how this would go. But this would build some of this into the budget. We're also suggesting other funding sources with using automated enforcement.
So this $30,000 would be in addition to $80,000, which is already in the budget.
Correct, for
budget.
$110,000 is first phase one.
And
Councilor Hill, final thoughts?
Yeah, just for clear, just so everybody else has understanding about this, what does a camera cost if we're going to have to add add cameras to not just upgrade or replace? What's a rough estimate of a camera?
The overall estimate that we have right now is over $400,000 to transition, but we don't have an individual camera cost, Councilman, at this point. I mean, I don't know those numbers
Like
in particular.
30,000
Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
I would say because we're changing from a wire to a to a mobile. So I mean, to cellular. So
Yeah.
and that's what I'm saying. We'll get into those. This will help us to seed the CCTV process. I hope. I'm sorry, I'm reverberating.
Yeah, currently we have a kind of an antenna system, and because all of the new high rises along Route 1, both us and the university are kind of struggling using that technology, and our cameras are very old and very hard to get clear pictures on at times, and so this is something that's been needed for a while.
Thank you. We can probably work session it, right, later on?
We definitely will.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, can I just add, as far as District 4 is concerned, we just don't know if there are cameras that are going to be placed in District 4. You don't have to answer it right now, but just...
That's a good question.
Okay.
I have one quick question. How many cameras are available in north of Maryland 193?
There.
I don't have the camera. I don't have that. The ones that are north of 183 are more recent.
Okay.
They're not as obsolete as the other cameras in Old Town and Calvert Hills.
I don't need the answer right now, but like it's not obsolete if it doesn't exist, right? So I just would like to know. I know that there's some gaps.
Sounds like a great question for the public safety study.
You know what? You're right. Yes, and eventually we'll get there. I just had that one question. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Certainly. All right. Looks like we're ready for a vote. Let's do the straw poll, starting with Councilor Hernandez.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
Yes.
Councilor Jordan.
Yes.
Councilor Simmons.
No.
Councilor Oates.
Yes, but I'd like more discussion with staff before we move forward on CCTVs in general, because I do think that our expenditures on public safety infrastructure should follow the public safety study.
Thank you. I take it as a yes. Councilor Ranker.
Yes, and concur.
Councilor Mayor Pro Tem Mackey.
Yes, and I also concur with what my colleague said and wanted to also add that this is a tool for safety. So that's why I'm voting yes.
Thank you. And Councilor Mitchell. Thank you.
Hope that will be included in the public safety study and also look at expansion as well.
Thank you. Fantastic. So you got a 7-1, so it passes. 30K. Let's go to the second one, bike racks. Who's the one requested? Councilmember Oates, please. Use your mic.
Councilmember Simmons and I would love to have an intern to do this and then take this off of the budget consideration.
That is
Thank
simple. That is simple. I love it.
So we're doing bike racks?
Yeah, I'll say the reason I put this on here was a sense that we needed more bike racks in the city, which I certainly feel is needed. My colleagues noted that there's grant funding that we could leverage in order to do this. We wouldn't necessarily have to expend it out of the budget, and they have committed to finding the money to make it happen.
Thank you.
So, Councilman
Let's
Oates, you're
go.
taking that out?
It's taken out, so we're not going to vote on it. Old Parish renovation.
I will say, I know that we took out the agenda item from the bicycle committee that was supposed to be at this meeting, where they were going to tell us what infrastructure they thought was needed for bicycles. So I'll just leave that there.
Okay, but we're still going to vote on Old Parish renovations. So it's Councilor Oates. That's in your district. That's in our district.
Yeah, I think this is just a plus up to the SIP part of doing renovations to Old Parish House. I think some of the things that were planned were specific to portions of the house, and this would enable a more comprehensive refresh.
So it's a CIP. Do you have anything already added to the budget for Old Parish House and CIP? Mr. Marsile, thank you.
Hi, good evening. Yes, we do have, in the CIP, we have $40,000 for repair to flooring, new floor, some appliances, and I believe we had some renovation to the restrooms in the facility.
Thank you. So this $20,000 requested in addition to $40,000, which is already in the budget. Am I correct?
That's my understanding.
Okay. Councilmember Mitchell.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Since I was going to make a recommendation, and my colleague and Councilmember 3 can say yes or no if he would consider this, but since they took off the bike rack at 10, I was going to ask to add the 10 to the Old Parish House and make that 30.
$30,000. Is that okay with the motion maker?
I really defer to staff because I don't know how much things cost. I would be fine with more money on it, but I'm also happy if you don't spend the more money that we give you.
Yeah, I think the issue is, I believe one of the items that we want to research is the main floor, which would be, those don't come cheap, so we may need it.
Okay. I would say if we're reallocating that $10,000, let's put it back on the bike racks.
Okay. So looks like we are going to vote on $20,000. Is it okay? Let's do it. Start with the Councilor Hernandez.
Yes.
Old Parish renovation, $20,000. Councilor Hill?
No.
No. Councilor Jordan?
Yes.
Councilor Simmons?
No.
And Councilor Oates? Yes.
Yes.
Councilor Ranker? Yes.
Yes, and I volunteer to help out.
This is our district. You can't say no. Councilor Mackey, Mayor Pro Tem Mackey?
Yes, and I'd like to see if anything we could look at the bathrooms also.
Okay.
And yes, and I
Councilor
echo my
Mitchell,
comments
yes.
with Mayor Pro Tem Mackey to look at the condition of the bathroom to make improvements as well.
Okay, so it's 6-2, it passes, $20,000 for Old Parish renovation. Employee bonus, $75,000. Who was the one requested?
I did. So this item came, I've been on council now 3 years. I think we had an employee bonus the very first year. I honestly would have done it at $150,000 because I think $75,000 spread across everyone is $500 or something to that effect. Without taxes, without taxes being taken out. The reason being is a number of different things, but I'll just highlight it to the point of cost of living has gone extremely up, inflation has gone up, and we want to use this tool as a recruitment and retention tool. I think that demonstrating appreciation for our staff and all of the hours that they support us is a good first step in just nodding. I think when it comes to employee bonuses, one of the things that we should consider is that just because we budget it doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to approve it until the end of the year when we have that discussion. I will note that last year was an election year requiring significant amount of hours for many of our members of staff, in addition to Snowcrete, which required a large number of folks who didn't typically work in the public works department to go all hands. I think this is just a small gesture, especially when we're sitting at 46% fund balance. We're not always going to be this healthy, maybe, or maybe we are, but I think at this opportunity and at this juncture, I feel comfortable asking for the council to consider $75,000 for employee bonuses.
Question, Councilor Simmons.
If we're concerned about cost of living, I'd be more in favor of doing a comp and classification study, or if we want to reward staff on just a finite basis, I would be in favor of giving them a holiday. I'm going to be voting against this.
We did a
We did do a
classification
comp.
study 2 years ago, am I correct?
Excellent.
Yes.
It was in 2024, yes.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah, we on a regular basis to make the adjustment. I think last year we were also making adjustments to make sure we had employees get above 60% of the area average salaries for their positions. So that there was a couple of different things that we were trying to accomplish last year.
Thank you. All right, question before take vote?
Yeah, no, I'll just say that I think philosophically I'm against putting bonuses in a budget because then they become expected, and I want to reward staff for doing a great job, and I think we can do that in a budget amendment when that time comes. So it's more of a bonus, like an unexpected bonus, as opposed to something that then becomes expected for years.
Councilor Hill.
Yes, I'd like to hear from staff. It's just the amount that's needed. Where are we? I know more or less where we are, but how much would this take to get us there of getting us to our goals of the cost of living adjustments and all that?
Kola.
Can I add 2 rebuttals to the responses to the statements? Last year, we also we doubled our salary on council, and we were in a good position to do that. So I thought that would be a good gesture to be able to work with it. And to Councilmember Ranker's point, I hear you. I think it's to budget it sounds weird, but I think at this level of government, we need to be able to set it aside just in case, and we can always vote it back in. But I don't really know how often we do budget amendments throughout the year. I know that it's possible. I just don't know how often.
Mr. Young, can you talk about the COLA, cost of living adjustment?
For this year, it's 3%.
3%.
Pretty much across the board. The amount that we're looking at, again, it is about right now at $75,000. It's probably after taxes is around maybe 400 or so, maybe a little bit less than that for some. I think it's easier for us to be able to handle it already in the budget, but we don't expend it. My expectation would be that we'd come to council if we wanted to kind of disperse that during the holidays is usually when we do that particular disbursement. But it does avoid us having to come through a budget amendment process.
If we do it now. Thank you. Councilor Hill, the mic lights is still on. I think you asked your question. Councilor Mitchell, you have a question? Lights on. All right, let's take the vote. Councilor Hernandez. Yes?
Yes.
Oh, you have a question, Councilor Oates.
So can I just ask, since I have not seen this in the past, why a employee bonus rather than increasing the amount that the city has for awards for staff?
Honestly, I haven't really considered that. I think in the past what I've seen is this is a simple vehicle for you to go forward. I think every department may have their own award mechanisms, so that's why this would come. And I don't know. Let's ask Mr. Young. But like ma'am, Director Pizzuti.
No problem.
Way Pizzuti.
All employees don't receive awards. This way, everyone will receive the $500.
Thank you. All right, let's take the vote. Councilor Hernandez, yes, right? Because you're pitching.
Yes.
Councilor Hill.
I'll say no, and I'll just say because I trust our management to utilize what is available to the end of the year to compensate as needed, and that I look forward to dealing with that process then, rather than just because we can just throw money at it right now.
Thank you. Councilor Jordan?
No.
No. Councilor Simmons?
Could you please come back to me?
Certainly. Councilor Oates?
No.
Councilor Ranker?
No.
Councilor Mackey? Mayor Pro Tem?
Yes.
And Councilor Mitchell?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, and explain my vote. There's been years that we weren't able to give our employees a compensation nor a bonus. In the past couple of years, we have done that because of their hard work and their passion and commitment to the city. I see that it's no more than right. We get bonuses at our job every now and then to at least show our gratitude to our staff by giving them a bonus and putting it in the budget and giving them city manager discretion to use it how he sees fit.
Thank you. So that's the one. And Councilor Simmons.
Where are the votes?
Huh?
Where are the votes?
We have 4 to 3.
4 to 3 which way?
4 yes, 3 no, nays.
Yes.
Okay, that makes 5 to 3.
That makes 4 to 4.
4 to 4.
Oh, that makes 4 to 4.
No, it makes it 5 to 3. Doesn't it?
Oh, there are 4 no's. I'm sorry, I'm wrong. I was wrong.
4 no's.
4 nays and 3 yes.
4 yeses.
Mr. Mayor, can you please clarify the votes?
You're the 4th yes. You're the yes or no?
Oh, I'm still a yes.
Okay.
I thought
So
I would be the
it's a-
5th yes, though.
It's a 4 to 4. Right? It's a 4 to 4. It's a tie. Okay, it's my turn. And I do appreciate our hardworking employees, and in recognition of their hard work, but yes, thank you. All right, let's go to Rhode Island Avenue, red light study. Who is going to pitch?
So the theory behind the Rhode Island red light study is between Edgewood and I want to say Maryland 193. The Rhode Island Road has experienced a number of different changes over the past few years. I want to say past 5 years. The speed limit has gone down from 35 miles per hour to 30 miles per hour. and there has been an addition of the bollards bicycle lanes protectors. The request here is, so the problem that this has created is an egress safety issue to get out of the particular neighborhoods of West Hollywood, East Hollywood, Daniels Park, and Oak Springs. In addition to, we're spending $98.2 million on, no, not $9.82 million, well, you know, maybe. $9.82 million on Duval Field. I want to make sure that when we start seeing an uptick in traffic, that we are properly able to manage that traffic. So I'm asking the council to consider supporting a study that looks at the possibility of introducing a traffic light to the Rhode Island Road.
Rhode Island Avenue, is that there are quite a few intersections? Is there any, all the intersections or one intersection?
I really going to have to defer that to experts and engineers because I do not know the answer.
So I see our city engineers, Mr. Halpern is here. Any further comments? $25,000, is it okay with you?
That's enough to do these 3 traffic signal warrants, 3 turning movement counts, and a few traffic speed volume and classification.
Okay. Thank you. Questions? Who has the first? Councilor Hugh and then Councilor Jordan.
So you probably need more than 25,000 from what you're saying to do this.
25 is fine.
25 is fine. Okay, and you know, one of the things I want to let my colleagues know is that probably District 2 gets some of this too, but we've been getting a lot of emails and requests for improvements to the traffic that has been resulting of the improvements we did since we took it over. There's a different kind of congestion that wasn't there prior to that. And we constantly have been telling our residents that there needs to be a study done, whether it's a stop sign, a circle, or a street light signal, you know. And we've consistently said that the engineer has told us there needs to be a study done. We've been counting on this study being done to answer the questions and complaints and issues that our residents have had in District 1 and on the border of District 2. So I really strongly feel that we need to move forward with this.
Thank you.
The money, it needs to be funded for when the department is ready to do it. You know, they might be overwhelmed right now, but it needs to be done.
Thank you. Councilor Jordan.
Thank you. I just wanted to add that one of the benefits of this is that we have a real problem with Duval Field opening up. It's going to be wonderful, but if we have children and families who are trying to cross Rhode Island Avenue, that's almost impossible right now.
Thank you.
And so it will mean that that people will drive from one part of College Park a few blocks over to Duval Field.
And
so this is a very good study.
That intersection is in your district, in District 2. Right. Councilor Simmons.
Thank you. So my understanding is that we do not currently operate any of the stoplights within the city. So this would need to fall to the county to maintain. Do we have confirmation from them that they would be able to maintain any stoplights that we placed on Rhode Island Avenue?
Currently, the county maintains the light over at Rhode Island and Edgewood. We'd have to talk with them to see if they would, if signal is warranted or we do go ahead with a signal, if they would maintain it for us. But they are maintaining the one over at Rhode Island and Edgewood at this time.
Do you typically have those conversations with them first or do the study first?
Oh, we do the study first and talk with them concurrently. We let them know what we're doing because they have certain criteria. We want to make sure we meet their criteria.
Thank you. Any question? If not, let's take Councilor Oates.
I was just going to say, folks might not know this about me, but I used to live up on Fox Street, and I can attest that the traffic patterns are very different than they were 10 years ago.
I wish you could run. District 1 resident. Thank you.
Mayor. Yes.
Okay. Let's take votes. Councilor Hugh.
Yes.
Councilor Jordan.
Yes.
And Councilor Simmons.
Yes.
Councilor Urs,
Yes.
Councilor Anchor,
Yes.
Councilor Mayor Pro Tem Mackey,
Yes.
Councilor Mitchell. That's fantastic, 8-0. All right, let's move to parking study, $50,000, and
This was me.
it's you.
Yep.
Thank you.
Just to explain briefly to everyone, we've gone back and forth on this with parking, and I think the residents have expressed frustration with the parking, too many cars on the street. We noticed with our latest snow removal that our DPW crews had to be very creative in moving the snow because of all the cars on the street. I think it's a quality of life issue for people when there are too many cars on the street. People can't park near their homes, and so I'd like to encourage a study. I asked for this a while back. I'd like to make sure it gets in the budget. Thank you.
Thank you. And I believe when we had this discussion, there's council in general, they actually agreed to have this study done. I see Councilor Hugh and then Councilor Mitchell.
Yes, thank you. So we're all aware of the parking issues we have, and within each of our districts, there are different issues that drive the parking problems, and there's no one size fits all. And again, residents have been asking, how do we fix this? And we've already been saying with a study. So we need to fund this study.
Thank you. Where's the other one? Councilor Mitchell.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you to Mayor Pro Tem Mackey for bringing this up. We have been discussing this for approximately 6 years regarding the parking study. But I also hope that this parking study would talk about, because it's supposed to be citywide, talk about in an instance that we have to do emergency planning, because we have not talked about that as part of the process. And this is from an outgrowth of incident that happened in College Park Woods. One spring, there was a fire near Metzgerot Road, and we didn't know if he had to evacuate. So this was one of the other main reasons that we wanted to bring a parking study up to council consideration.
Good. Thank you. Let's take the vote. Councilor Hernandez.
Yes.
And Councilor Hugh.
Yes.
Or Jordan.
Yes.
Or Simmons.
Yes.
Councilor Urs.
Yes.
Councilor Anchor.
Yes.
Councilor Mayor Pro Tem Mackey.
Yes.
And Councilor Mitchell, 8-0. Passes. Let's do the resident versus rental study, $30,000.
No,
that
that's
has
gone.
been taken out, right?
Right. It's been.
Okay. Final one. Property acquisitions, $500,000, $500,000. All right. Who's going to talk?
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I kind of touched on it earlier. Property acquisition is an important thing, and I think we need to move aggressively on the Stone property, and the if we can, the Board of Education property as well. Our services in recycling and composting are new. Well, there's a leaf composting and a new household composting is taking off and has gotten recognition by the county and other entities that handle these recycling and other things. As density is happening, as the need for affordable housing is happening, we're creating more waste and not enough space to handle it, and not enough means to keep it out of the landfill and what have you. So there's no time like the present to take care of this issue, because if these properties get away from us, where are we going to go? How are we going to expand these services? It takes a lot for us to transport compost to the facilities that handle it, and we could really use the space. Public Works is already in a pinch for space, and this would be the right thing to be doing to approach this more aggressively now. So
Thank you.
Yes, we need property acquisition.
Questions? Councilor Hernandez, then Councilmember Mitchell.
No, I mean, excuse me. I really appreciate Councilmember Hughes' forward thinking. I know as we're thinking through the potential annexation of different parts of land that we could potentially use some of these funds, but it's important to do that during the budget process to set those funds aside. So for that reason, I'm supportive.
So, Councilor Mitchell?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, Councilor Hernandez, for your support. I will also be supporting this. We've been talking about this for years about property acquisition and being able to have a seat at the table and to be able to position ourselves accordingly as time permits. And the time is now due to issues going on in the county as well as in the state. And this will be the first step to give us a level playing field.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem, and then Councilmember Jordan.
I also am in support of this and applaud my colleague for bringing this forward. We don't know what the future holds, but one of the things we do know is that we don't have a lot of property available to us in the city. So I think it's very important that we set aside monies for this, for the opportunities that might arise. Thank you.
Councilor Jordan, Councilor Simmons.
Yes, thank you. I'm in support of this. I do want to put the caveat that I would like this to be used for something big, bark, BOE, stone property. That this in particular, I'm not doing an increase so that we can just do random parcels. There's a place for that, but I'm especially interested in these. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Councilor Simmons.
Don't we already have $2 million in the property acquisition fund or somewhere thereabouts? What's the amount that we already have budgeted?
I think we have 2.2 million in there currently.
Yes, that's correct. 2.2 million.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Let's take the word, Councilor Hernandez. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry, hold on, Mr. Ranker.
I mean, it's not going to matter. I generally support property acquisition. I think 500,000 is too much, so I'm going to vote no.
Okay.
Can I just ask a question before, just to put into perspective everything? How much did we hear the stone shop? We don't need to get into details, but how much was it when they went up for
It's
sale?
in the market, right?
No, it doesn't matter if it was in the market or not in the market. How much was the
Stone
value?
Straw was, I think, $6.5 million is, I think, what they ended up paying for that property. And I think the school district sites that we're contemplating looking at, and we're 2.5 million. Somewhere around
It's just a matter of perspective. I vote yes.
Thank you. Question? Councilor Simmons?
I guess my question is, so in the city manager's budget, you proposed a number specifically, I would imagine. Why was it 2.2 and not 2.7?
So 2.2 is already, we are carrying over from last year, am I correct?
This was capital, these were capital
CIP.
dollars that we were carrying over. So that, I'm trying to remember at what point we had the additional amount that was showing, but maybe Shannon can help me with that.
Thank you. Did you get the answer?
No.
Do you want to go higher? I'm just kidding.
Yes.
Mr. Oates?
Yeah, it's just a previous balance from the beginning of or the ending of last year. It ended at 2025 at $2.9 million, and then $755,000 has been spent this year so far on different properties, and so which is going to leave us about a $2.2 million balance in that account. And adding the $500,000 that's proposed here would make it a $2.7 million. Right.
Thank you.
That doesn't include any properties that we're currently contemplating. So just to factor that in.
Thank you. Mr. Oates?
Yeah, maybe if I could just ask for clarification on the use of the fund. I think understanding that a large, it's unlikely that even 2.2 versus 2.7 that you'd be able to make a large purchase. I think is what is there. I know that for making purchases, we have to do ordinances. For amending the budget, we have to do an ordinance. What's the difference in the process there from if there is a property that we don't have enough money allocated in property acquisition and needed to make a budget amendment in order to allocate more money to that? Would that be infinitely more complex, or would it be, well, we already have to do an ordinance for this, so we're just doing 3 ordinances instead of 2?
Well, well, we would always have to do an ordinance for any purchase, and that always would be approved by council. I don't have the ability to just go out there and make a purchase and close on a property by myself. without getting explicit direction from the council. And it depends on the size of property that we're looking at. There are some that are out there that may require us to either take out a loan, may have to look out different methods of financing. So that would be kind of determined, at that time. And again, that would be another process that we'd have to go through to identify funds for that. And one of the challenges that we always find ourselves with is there was some opportunities for us to partner with Maryland Park and Planning on a couple of properties, and we weren't able to do that because we didn't have any money within the property acquisition fund. The other, I think there were some opportunities to acquire properties in the Old Town area that were some had affordability requirements that had expired, but the apartments there was a right of first refusal that the county had. We couldn't pick that up because we didn't have any money to be able to that was set aside to be able to try and acquire them.
So I guess what I'm asking though is, in those cases, could staff have come and asked for a budget amendment in order to fund that? And would that have, are there like a difference in terms of like number of days for notification for budget ordinances versus the ordinances to acquire property?
I don't think there's a major difference. I think there's the main is the 20-day period for the hearing before we can actually purchase. So we usually can't close until like the 21st day, right? And so a lot of the issue is not going to change no matter what you do with this particular item.
Can I say something real quick also on that? It is also a good idea as you go along to be able to add money to that account as you can while you still have plenty of fund balance. Instead of having to come back, say for instance, if we did find a $4 million piece of property and try to come back, only place that money would come from between the 2.2 that we have now to that $4 or $5 million property would be from fund balance, and that would be getting us dangerously close to that 35% or below number. So it's if you have the fund balance, it is nice to be able to add it to it a little bit at a time instead of looking for one big chunk at one time.
Okay. Can we take the vote?
Yes.
Councilor Hernandez, yes. Councilor Hill, yes, right?
Yes, I'd like to add more, but yes, for this is a gesture.
Yes.
Councilor Jordan, yes. Councilor Simmons?
No.
Councilor Ors?
Yes.
Councilor Ranker?
No.
Councilor Mackey?
Yes.
And Councilor Mitchell, yes. The vote of 6-2, it passes. Property acquisition, $500,000 CIP. It's approved. So that was the last one.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask, because I asked this at the beginning, but I would like the finance director to maybe comment on, the director of finance, to comment on the increase in the contingency from 125 to 200, and also my understanding is the contingency under the city manager was especially there to like make up for differences that we were going to possibly vote on, and so that's still at 100,000. I just wanted to kind of get an idea behind those.
Sure. First of all, speaking to the contingency part, if you back to the pages that I handed out earlier, if you go to the very last of the budget section before you get to CIP, it's probably 6 pages in. It shows the contingency section. I'll give you a minute to find it. It's a short page on the back. Oh. It looks like that. Yes, 75,000 for the employee bonus, and then the 125,000 stays in contingency. So yes, it's not giving more money to contingency. It's just sitting in that account. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thanks.
Okay.
And then then under the mayor, under the city manager.
Yes, that when we originally got the request and we were working through the budget, that was the first thing we did was take that out. And then whenever the these requests came through, it was also asked to be put back in. So it was put back in, and the reason being is because it was asked that it's good to have that money set aside for the city manager in case, any kind of emergencies or anything comes up that needs to be that money spent on. So it was put back, and that's why the sheet's in there to, make sure that you all knew that was put back. But if, it's totally up to you whether it stays in there or not.
And what's the difference between that contingency versus the 125 and the other contingency?
This one is sitting in the city manager's position, and it's sitting in his budget. So it's anything that he can use to his discretion for, and it still falls under all the rules that he'll have to come in front of the council to, get anything passed if it's over a certain dollar amount. But the other one is for the city as a whole. Like, say, for instance, if we spend too much money or it's going way over because of an extra snow blizzard condition this next year, and it's for anything in that area. So they can be kind of interchanged and be used together. So, but yeah, one is more for just the city manager and his discretion. The other one is to be used for the whole city.
Okay. Thank you.
Just to follow up on that, I think under Public Works, there's like a negative $125,000. Is that paired with this contingency line item?
It is
this
not.
Is the expenditure, and that's
that one is. That one is hopefully not to be spent, and that one will be offset.
Is reflecting the top lines of what needs to be spent based on what the actual conditions are.
Yeah, maybe I used the wrong example of a blizzard condition because that was a different contingency. So yeah, maybe I should have came up with another horror story for College Park in the future. Sorry, that's just the first one that came to mind.
If there's a pandemic, for example.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Let's not even talk about it. Lisa? Maybe this is for offline, but I just want to know more. Maybe I want to talk a little bit more about having 3 different contingencies and the need for that.
And we streamline all these 3. Okay.
Sure.
All right. Thank you. So there is a little bit of adjustments. I'm sure Mr. Ollie will be doing. I see the recording bucket in the top one. There's $25,000 taken out in the first one, communication and outreach, and the literacy, $50,000 not approved. And in the second bucket, bike racks taken out, and everything is approved, I believe. Resident rental, okay, which is $30,000. So, Mr. Olive, final comments?
Yes, thank you for your time tonight and going through each one of those. I know it was a long and painful process, but it really helped us out. And I will make those adjustments, and I will be back next Tuesday night with the budget ordinance, and then we will be also advertising for the public hearing shortly after that. So, and it is all on the budget calendar that's put out. So, thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you to the staff, too.
Yes. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, staff, and thank you all the directors who came and spent time with us. All right, let's move to the second item.
Mr. Mayor, can I ask,
yes,
can we
please.
take a 5-minute break before moving to the next agenda item?
Okay, sure. First 5 minutes recess. It's now
telling you.
I can do the one if you want.
I'm just saying you.
We're gonna get this quick. We're gonna get ADUs done.
Councilor Mitchell?
Mayor, we're gonna get this done, so we'll get this ADU one done quickly so that you can
You're
provide
going
the
to
update,
do
okay?
ADU?
We're not gonna hold it up any longer.
You're doing public safety or?
I'm doing both. I'm doing the introduction for ADU because I'm doing both.
Yeah,
So-
but we need to amend the agenda.
Yes, I know. I'm standing here ready for whatever you decide, sir.
Oh, okay. All right, we have the quorum. There is a request to move the agenda, kind of swap the agenda, discussing ADU before public safety. And for that, if anyone is interested, we need to suspend the rule and change the order of the two items we have. So I need a motion for that.
So moved.
We need to suspend
Second.
the rule to amend the agenda, right? Yeah, we need to suspend the rule.
You had a motion.
We'll just
and
suspend the
Councilman
rules.
Second?
Councilman Oates second already.
Okay.
Suspend the rule in order to move the agenda or the swap the two items we have, right? Yes, there's a purpose. You're the motion maker and the seconded. Councilor Oates is the second. Okay, all in favor say aye. Any opposed, any abstention? So let's do ADU item now, and
Thank you, Mayor.
we are going to do it.
Thank you, Mayor, Council. For the record, I'm Michelle Bailey Hedgepeth, Deputy City Manager. I'm pleased to be speaking with you this evening about the accessory dwelling unit item. Tonight, we're bringing forward an overview discussion related to the accessory dwelling units, specifically the Accessory Dwelling Unit Act of 2025. This item is intended to develop a strategy and feedback discussion to provide how the city of College Park can engage and influence Prince George's County Council. As we've discussed with our attorney, the role in this matter is limited. Under the current legal framework, the city does not have the authority for zoning authority, and we cannot regulate the location, density, or accessory dwelling units in these zones. As a result, our ability to control ADUs is limited. That said, the county is currently considering how to implement the state ADU legislation and present an important opportunity to the city and to provide input and recommendations. Our ADU task force, or the ADU task force for the county, is scheduled to meet in early May. And tonight's discussion is just intended to gather some council input. We're going to be bringing an item right back to you guys next week from this input so that it can be voted on. And then based on our conversations with our attorney and guidance from a memorandum that has been presented before you, staff is not presenting a draft policy position. Instead, we are seeking your feedback. Our attorney, Nathaniel Foreman, is here. Nathaniel's here, as you can see, right in front of me. At this moment, Carlos and Miriam are going to walk you through their presentation, which is brief, and we're going to go through the ADU process, and then we're going to take questions from the council if that helps. So the goal tonight is simple. I'm setting this table for you, provide you with relevant legal and policy context, gather your input, and then staff can have some clear and insightful presentations for you for the next meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nunes?
Thank you, Michelle, and good evening, Mayor and Council and residents. This presentation provides an overview of the Maryland Accessory Dwelling Units Act of 2025, as Michelle underscored, the current status of Prince George's County's response, and a proposed strategy for how the city can engage moving forward. We'll also clarify the city's legal role, which is central to how we approach this issue. Not everyone is familiar with ADUs, so we have a very nice slide up there that shows what they look like in 4 images. Essentially, an ADU is not a duplex or a second primary home. It's a secondary unit. ADUs can be created through conversion, addition, or new construction. And note that HB 1466 requires jurisdictions with zoning authority to allow ADUs by October 1st, 2026. ADUs are intended for long-term housing and not short-term rentals. This context sets up the rest of the presentation, which focuses on state requirements, county authority, and the city's advisory role. And as you see there, they can be attached above, below the home, on the side of the home, and detached, as you see in the bottom right-hand corner. The state passed legislation requiring jurisdictions with land use authority to allow accessory dwelling units by October 2026. In Prince George's County, zoning authority rests with the district council, meaning the county, not the city, will adopt ADU regulations. The county has established an ADU task force to develop recommendations, but at this point, no draft legislation or formal policy guidance has been released as of yet. There is also a proposed extension of the task force deadline to May 1st, 2026. This creates a window for us where the city can engage before policies are finished. The key takeaway here is that the city does not have independent zoning authority. In Prince George's County, land use authority is exercised by the district council. While the city has some delegated powers, zoning, including ADUs, remain with the county. Because of that, the state ADU law does not require the city to adopt regulations per se, and we do not have the authority to do so. However, the city still plays an important role. We can advise the county, coordinate with other municipalities, and influence outcomes through building code and safety regulations. So while we cannot control where ADUs are located, we can still shape how they are implemented. Based on the city's legal constraints, staff is recommending a strategy focused on influence rather than regulation. This includes researching best practices, coordinating with neighboring municipalities, and engaging with the county early in the process. A key outcome would be a formal letter from the mayor and council outlining the city's policy priorities. Tonight, we are seeking direction on those priorities and how you would like to see staff proceed regarding the draft letter of recommendation. For this slide, please disregard that the second square there where it says size and lot coverage limits. Disregard the lot coverage limits because ADUs are not factored into the lot coverage calculations. But that what you see there in those boxes are not final recommendations per se. They are examples pulled from the draft letter in your folder. Ultimately, as we keep saying here, council input will shape the final version. In summary, we cannot regulate, but we can influence, and that's where we are. This concludes our presentation. We're available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Sorry. Is any question? Comment? Councilor Hill.
So, recommendations. This would be recommendations for the county's enforcement in our city, or recommendations that we can follow. I mean, it's kind of different. Basically, unlike other parts of the county, we have, already have a certain density issue and parking issues and stuff like that. My big worries is the ability to inspect the impact on parking. And like you said, this isn't going to be isn't supposed to be for short-term rentals, Airbnb type of things. But how do we prevent that? Is the council going to be working with us for that? There's a whole mess of things that. How do we address this?
Okay, so Councilmember Ranker said that we should write up a letter, and that letter we would send to the ADU task force, because the county ADU task force. So the county ADU task force has been charged with coming up with an ordinance, an ADU ordinance. And we've been trying to participate in the meetings by just attending the meetings, but we don't have a seat at that table. So and Councilmember Ranker, correct me if I'm wrong, but his idea was that we send a letter what our concerns are with College Park, and that maybe they would have consideration for that and adopt that into their proposed legislation.
Thank you, Councilmember. Who was next?
Oh,
Hernandez
right.
and Mitchell.
And I included an attachment of a draft proposed preliminary letter that you could go through, and then we can just use that as talking points. That if did some of those recommendations make sense, or did they not make sense, or I want to get council's feedback on that.
So the letter starts at the page 185. If you want to take a look.
What contacts do you have on this board or this group? You know, do we have some strong?
Yeah, I did talk to Council Member Olson and actually Lakeisha Hull, who was the director of planning at the time. Remember, we invited her here to talk to us about ADUs, and we said, how are you going forward? And she said, I'm going to establish an ADU task force. And remember, we recommended that we have a seat at the table because College Park is a university town, and we're unique, and we have a different framework than let's say, Eastern Maryland. So, and my impression, and you all were whoever was there, was she said, yes, we'll have a seat at the table. And then the next thing I know, they established the ADU task force, and we don't have a seat at the table. And I asked Councilmember Olson, and he's like, well, I asked them, and they said it was full. And, so all we've been able to do is just attend as the public and raise concerns.
The last time they met was February 18th, and they haven't reconvened since then.
Yeah, they only had like 2 meetings, I think December and January, right? They had 2 meetings, and then the chairman resigned, and then they haven't really reconvened, and so I don't know, but...
All right, Councilor Hernandez, thank you.
I'm going to be mindful of my time. I know that there are some residents waiting to hear from the public safety study, so I'm just going to start off with just topping. I have no idea. I'm not an expert on this. I know sometimes I feign expertise, but on this one, I really, really don't know too much about the topic. I will say, in general, what I'd like to see, if it's not within like state law or county law, forgive me. It's just because I just don't know, right? But 4 things. 1, I'd like to see the ADU that I guess exists be tracked through some sort of registration, and we can talk about some sort of fee base because my next point is is taking a look at or exploring the understanding of requiring, or I guess bringing them in as a revenue stream. I say this because one property lot is all of a sudden going to have 2 property lots, 2 units that you're going to then have to manage. I mean, and now I understand every unit's different. Some people, are single family. Some people have multifamily. Some people are just one person living in their home. It can vary. All I'm saying is that you're going to have 2 sets of trash and recycle, right? Refuse. I'm hoping that my colleagues will consider if there is an additional requirement of city services that those particular property lots also pay an additional fee, whether that's through taxes or through that registration fee. 3rd and 4th, more importantly, is safety. So as ADUs get developed, I know that they have to be developed within city code and county law, or city ordinance and county law. However, at least in the district that I help oversee, I have seen many units be added to a particular property that are unsafe. So I'd like for the team that's looking into this to please provide recommendations on how to deal with unauthorized, or I don't want to use the word illegal, but like they built it without permission, right? And if they're built without permission, one of the biggest concerns for me, and I'll just tell you from an anecdote perspective, is the fact that some of them aren't even like up to like the proper height, right? Let alone like fire protected areas. These units get built on the weekends. I see it, right? Like where there's no enforcement. I mean, even if there was enforcement, it's hard. Sometimes you just miss them. So I'd like some sort of like coherent recommendations on how to deal with those. But I think it all starts at the beginning with registration, right? You register the ADUs, so then we have some sort of list that we track, and there's some sort of, whether it's a permit process or whatever process, that we can internally from the city evaluate those particular units.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember Mitchell.
Miriam, could I just
Sorry,
add
for
a
the comments.
comment to that? So, yeah, those points we did capture in our recommendation letter to register it. One thing that I need to point out is that the state legislation wants to remove as many restrictions as they can to ADUs. I don't, they weren't seeing it from a College Park perspective. What we need to realize is that right now we allow 5 unrelated individuals per dwelling unit.
Sure.
So you have 5 in the main, and then you could have 5 in the ADU. There's no, minimum. It just says per dwelling unit. So instead of having 5 unrelated, we're looking at 10. Anyhow, the other important thing with the state is they wanted to remove the maximum lot coverage. So right now we have 35% maximum lot coverage in the standard residential. They said no lot coverage would apply to the ADU. So, and they don't even specify a number. So you could have, multiple numbers. So that's why in this letter I wrote out 12 different points that we should look at. One, limiting it to just 1 per unit, and per lot. And then number 11 was ADUs shall be registered, annually licensed, and annually inspected to ensure compliance with safety standards, habitability standards, local regulation, and national building code.
Director, on that, I'm going to defer those fights to someone else and how they champion them. All I'd like to see, listen, I think that the letter is extremely helpful in helping convey our point. I think managing them post, once they're active, I guess, once I don't know when this magic number comes out from the county, is what I'm concerned with. I don't know enough about coverage lots. I don't know enough about all of that. I know that others of my colleagues do, but my recommendations are more just suggestions for you all to take back into your internal planning. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Councilor Mitchell.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you, Miriam and Nate and Carlos, for bringing this up. To piggyback somewhat on Councilman Hernandez's point, I think I want us to really, the letter is great, and I think for us as municipalities, we need to concentrate on the county understanding, if we're going to put ADUs in our municipalities, how that correlates to what they want to accomplish, because they have one mindset already, and it's not thinking about us as far as we are being part of the process at the table. So if there's a way to craft the message that as they write up the actual legislation, that includes what municipalities, because 27 municipalities, all of us may be trying to look at this. We have to have something to help us to support this. And if only just looking at the county as the outlayers, such as Southern Maryland, Beltsville, it's not going to behoove us as a municipality to help us out.
Thank you. I see Mayor Pro Tem first, and then
I'll just go quickly. So I did send you some questions. I do know that our hands are kind of tied because we can just make suggestions, but one of the things that is very concerning is a lack of concern for the environment and for stormwater runoff. The more cement you have, the more problems you can have with stormwater runoff. We are not the same as someplace on the Eastern Shore or something. Somebody might have a big property and they want to have 5 ADUs on it. No, we have to try to somehow. There has to be some kind of limit, because if let's say you have every house in College Park Woods puts a little ADU on their property, that's just the infrastructure of our city, it's just not good. I have to tell you, I'm very pro ADU. My mother-in-law lives with me, and she has a little mother-in-law suite, and I understand the plight of older people. But I also want to make sure that we're being very mindful of the quality of life of all the residents of College Park. So I don't know how you could do this, is limit the number of ADUs per square acre, square mile, whatever that is, first come, first serve. And one of the things that concerns me is, you're not going to believe this, but across the street from me diagonally, at one point, people were living in a shed. And, it was a health hazard and things like that. Those are the kinds of things that I think that we need to be very careful that we're monitoring, that we're regulating in some form. I'm going to leave this into your capable hands. With Nate, you know all the legal things. Carlos and Miriam know all the planning things. But I am very concerned about like bigger homes being split into, 4 ADUs or whatever, So just there has to be some kind of regulation that we're not changing the whole environment of College Park and the landscape. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Councilor Simmons.
Thank you. I am beginning to think that my thoughts may differ a bit from my colleagues, and I know that I sent an email to staff yesterday along those lines. I think viewing this in the context of the state law is really useful, particularly Section 4-503 of the Maryland Annotated Code. It says, it is the policy of the state to promote and encourage the creation of accessory dwelling units on land with a single-family detached dwelling unit as the primary dwelling unit in order to meet the housing needs of the citizens of Maryland. It goes on to say a little bit more, and then as a subsection says, local jurisdictions shall establish policies that further the intent of this subtitle. And it does go into specifics around certain things that local jurisdictions, not ourselves, but the county, are preempted from doing through their land use authority. It outlines that we specifically can create laws to further public safety. I'm paraphrasing now, I'm not on the right page, but it really is focused on safety. So I think understanding the intent of the state law and also the recommendations of our Affordable Housing Task Force, which outline national best practices for ADUs on page 161 of the agenda packet. It says national best practices for ADU policy include allowing ADUs by right, not special exception, in single-family residential zones, and ensuring that ADUs remain subordinate in size to the primary dwelling. Additional information, off-street parking requirements should be limited, particularly in transit-served areas. Jurisdictions are encouraged to establish amnesty programs for existing non-permitted ADUs and to promote owner occupancy to build community trust. Additional best practices include offering accessibility incentives, such as grants for ADA-compliant designs, and establishing rental licensing programs to ensure safety, habitability, and compliance with local regulations. I hear the concerns of my colleagues, certainly, but understanding that this is a tool that is recognized both by the state and nationally for allowing additional, very gentle infill density, understanding that it can afford our residents the ability to age in place, to house aging or disabled family members, or generate rental income that enables them to stay in their homes, to provide much needed small scale housing in the midst of what we all recognize as a housing crisis. And as discussed earlier today, housing affordability is one of the top concerns of our residents in terms of the budget, and also increase property values, which would benefit the city's tax base. I do tend to think that one, allowing ADUs is a net benefit, and two, the state has already said that this is happening. So really focusing more on the positive and thinking about what are the regulations that we can put in place to ensure that these units are safe, particularly understanding, as one of my colleagues pointed out, we already have these in the city, and they're currently existing illegally, if I'm not mistaken, because the county currently does not allow them. And what does that do? That means they're existing outside of the law. There's no way currently for us to make sure that they're up to code. So yes, let us regulate them, let us ensure that they are safe, but I really would not, much more than adopting a regulation to ensure that they are safe, I would not be in favor of doing much more than that. And frankly, we are not able, as I understand it, to do much more than that. So I do have other more specific thoughts. Those are really my high-level thoughts at this point, but I appreciate staff's work, although I will say I think we probably I would like to see significant revisions to the letter, just because I think in its current form it's going to be something that the county will look at and say, thank you, no thank you. We just can't even pay attention to a lot of these recommendations because they're misaligned with the state law.
Thank you. Can staff work with Councilor Sims?
Actually, we had the legal team look at that, and there are a couple that we have to adjust, but it's only number 4, number 5, number 8, and number 9. So those we'll modify those. 4 talks about exceeding maximum lot coverage, and because of the state stipulations that we can't look at lot coverage, which to me is very concerning for College Park. I am in favor of ADUs, but College Park is a unique town. We're a university town. We have to keep that in mind. We have very, very small lots. Our lots are typically 5,000 square feet. I'm sorry, but I disagree that ADUs is an appropriate tool in College Park because we have the student pressures, and it's a different animal. It's not like any other community in the state of Maryland or anywhere else. Just like Councilmember Mackey pointed out, if they have 1 acre lots, 2 acre lots, but we don't have that. We have 5,000 square foot lots, and there's flooding problems, and we have lots of floodplain here. So we're talking about a different impact. But with that in mind, our attorney, and Nate can speak to this, but he said, we need to remove number 4, which has to do with maximum lot coverage. We need to remove number 8, which has to do with minimum setbacks. Number 5 is saying that we aren't allowed to put any off-street parking standard. So right now our streets are crowded, and then if you have the ADU, the state law is saying you can't put a minimum number of parking spaces per ADU unless you complete a parking study. So I was very happy to see that you guys have approved the parking study, because we'll need that to implement, if we want to, implement a parking standard for the ADU. For example, when you have a single-family home, you are required to have 2 off-street parking spaces. There's, most of the housing here has been grandfathered in, but if you build a new house, then you need to provide 2. And I think with the ADU, it just seems reasonable that you're also going to provide 2. We can't do that according to state law unless we do the parking study, which you all have recommended put in the budget. And number 9 was considering owner occupancy is required for either the primary structure or the ADU. This is very common, a tool that so many communities have used. However, there might be an issue with dormant commerce clause, so we have to do more research on that. So we will modify it so that it does fit the state law. However, there's a lot of good material in here, and I don't think we have to throw out the baby with the bathwater. And also, I want to say one thing about minimum setback. The state law says they want it just to be 5 feet. However, that's a fire hazard, because a fire truck can't get there in 5 feet. So, the fire truck cannot come up there. So what I'm thinking is, and since we have to look at, God forbid an ADU catches on fire and the fire truck can't get there because they're only required to be 5-foot setback, then I think we need to look at requiring that the ADUs be sprinkled. Just putting out there. I don't know. Again, I don't think the state, when they were crafting this, yes, they're looking at ADU globally, but not for College Park, which we have our own unique pressures.
Thank you.
I would say I appreciate the feedback, and professionally we can agree to disagree.
Thank you. That's fair. Anyone else? Councilor Watts? Sorry, Councilor Mitchell, did you? The second bite. Okay.
Sure. So I think it's helpful. This is our first conversation on ADUs. I know that I think it's helpful for us to have kind of a discussion on council's approach to ADUs and what we want to see. And I do think it's actually helpful to, as part of the contextual context setting the agenda, to understand the state law that was passed was intended to address the housing affordability crisis in the state of Maryland, and see how can we, what are steps that can be taken in order to help with affordable housing, and basically forcing people to accept ADUs as a way of addressing that issue. I think I have a couple questions. I think first I would just say, though, that in regards to how we submit a letter, I think my thought would be that it may be more impactful if we focus on our top like 2 or 3 things that we want, rather than kind of everything. So if we're trying to get the county to actually really read this and say, oh, these are good points, we're going to take this on board, I do think there's a risk if we give them too much, they'll do nothing with it. Whereas if we can kind of tighten up to what are the top things. So I have some questions, and then I have some suggestions on what those top things are. I think one, which is probably a question for our lawyers, but the question around parking and regulating parking by ADU. Currently, parking is regulated by address in the city. And since ADUs, so a given residential single-family home can have up to 5 parking passes and 2 visitor parking passes in a place that is permitted, which I realize is actually not most of the city. But that's the current way that we regulate. In the case of ADUs, if ADUs are not creating a new address, we would still be able to regulate the way that we currently regulate by address, because it is not distinct to how we regulate on ADUs. It is just how we regulate parking per address. Is that correct? Or would you need to look into that more?
I don't think that would be correct. I would think the ADU, it's going to have its own mail, so it would need its own unique address. How?
Well, not in every case. So in many of these, it's a basement apartment that has a wet bar and a plug for a hot plate.
Okay,
right?
So if I can, I'll just jump in real quick. Nate Foreman, attorney, and Stephanie and I did not coordinate our tan jackets, but it just worked out that way. When it comes to the Maryland law, the ADU, as it is described here, is only for detached or attached structures. It does not consider the built-in in-law suites as an accessory dwelling units per the state law. So that would not be considered as part of this. And I believe, as a matter of law, that would still be considered a single-family dwelling, and you could only have one kitchen, eating, full, complete living supplies. You couldn't technically have a basement apartment under this, be allowed to do a basement apartment under this law, because that would be a 2-family dwelling within a single-family dwelling. When it comes to the parking issues, that is based upon use itself. So that, as Miriam is correct, from under the zoning ordinance perspective, a single-family detached dwelling is required to provide 2 parking spaces. The accessory dwelling unit does not have its own parking requirements right now. It is just considered an accessory structure. It's like saying right now that your shed in your backyard has its own parking requirements. That just is not how it's regulated. I believe the idea of this is there is a understanding from the state that there will be additional people living in these accessory dwelling units. They will be functioning basically as another single-family home. And if a jurisdiction is interested in doing a parking study to see if there needs to be any sort of parking requirements, they can do that. But they don't set any sort of guidance on what to do with the parking at this stage. And I think, Councilmember Oates, you were kind of talking about how the city regulates the parking under a parking permit. That is separate, that is actually within the city's control, but that's not established in the minimum number of spaces required for use.
Whereas what you're talking about is if you're going to build an ADU, what would be required to add additional parking on property?
Yeah, also what we need to clarify is what you were talking about is on-street parking.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
and what we're talking about is off-street parking.
Yes.
So a house is supposed to have 2 off-street parking spaces. And then what I'm thinking is the ADU should also off-street, because our streets are already crowded. But that permit parking has to do with on-street parking.
And then, so far as you're aware, the county task force obviously has not yet actually formulated a definition of what an ADU will be as part of their deliberations. I will say I watched some of their February meeting that was online, but I watched it at like 2x speed, so I don't remember everything. But I recall a lot of discussion or debate, and the end of that basically said, we haven't made a decision on what an ADU even is. Is that an accurate reflection?
Well, the task force is working on it, right? We'll be working on it.
The state of Maryland has said that they'll release guidelines by late spring, but that's the closest I can get an answer to your question.
Okay.
Regarding that.
So, just to sum it up, so I think if I had to pick three things that we were going to try to tell the county that we wanted to do, I think the first of them would actually be what our vision of what the definition of an ADU should be. And I think the current definition, including a separate living space and a separate kitchen, so it's not a studio apartment in a basement, but like that it's actually a separate dwelling unit that has and a bathroom, right? Like it has all.
You're
of the
saying
aspects.
detached.
So that is actually in the state law. It defines a single an ADU as a dwelling unit means a single unit providing complete living facilities for at least one individual, including at a minimum provisions for sanitation, cooking, eating, and sleeping.
I think my question would be how that provisions for may be different than that those provisions are separate, right? So let me just say the other two. I think number 10 and 11, not allowing ADUs for short-term rentals, if the whole point of this was focused on affordable housing, and number 3, having a regular inspection.
We need to have a motion to extend the meeting.
Motion to extend the meeting.
All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? Any extension? It's 10:30. Let's go ahead.
Sorry, so that was my 3 were definition, short-term rental, and regular inspection and registration.
Okay.
But welcome
Thank you.
views from others.
It might be a good idea to for staff to work on with some of the council members on some of the ideas, and probably could restructure the letter, and including some of the priority items that Councilman Olt is mentioning that could be going into in the beginning of the letter, and then talk about the rest, so we can have a nice balance. Thank you. Second bite.
Thank you.
The first bite, Councilman Ranker.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think this is really important. I think there's a lot of, there are a lot of benefits to ADUs. There's also some concerns. I think clearly affordable housing is a main concern for us. But also we don't have the current capacity to kind of be on top of what's already happening in the city, and this just adds a whole nother layer. So I do like Councilmember Oates' approach. For instance, I was thinking of even removing number 6 from it, because, you know, if they make a carve out for historic districts, I think then every district will then try to be, you know, a historic district to kind of restrict future ADUs, and I just think that would be a kind of just another way to kind of carve that kind of thing out. But I kind of want to, I guess one thing from the report that I saw that, you know, college towns have done ADUs well, and it said Gainesville, Florida, and maybe a couple others. I'd want to see what specifically have they done that has worked well, and are those, you know, things that could be replicated. I'd also, going back to that enforcement piece, I would love to hear from staff, and maybe that could be included in a letter, is how could the county, are there certain enforcement tools that we feel like we would need in order to be enforcing the rules on the books? I mean, I think one of the previous conversations, Mr. Nunes, somebody asked, well, how many code enforcement officers would we need? And you said, well, we could have 1 million, but if we can't do certain things, we can't actually enforce them. So I think bringing that up for the county, you know, here are some tools that maybe we would need, that you would need to provide us the right to use in order to make sure that there's compliance. And I'm also just wondering, I mean, I hear that if we can't, you know, the task force recommendation said to incentivize owner occupancy for either the primary structure or the ADU. But, you know, hearing that number 9 might run afoul, you know, I just really would love if, especially if there's a property that is a rental and then throws up an ADU, that we can classify it as a commercial property for tax purposes. You know, and obviously that's not something that we can currently do as a city. So
thank you.
Just
All
my
right.
thoughts.
Second bite, please be brief. I know we know that quite a few residents are actually waiting
My
patiently.
question is very brief, and I thank all my colleagues for their comments and recommendations. My question is to Mr. Foreman. Knowing that we have this letter here, I know you have relationships in the county. Is this something that will be palatable, knowing the people that are at the county level? I don't want us to send a letter and there is no consideration, and I think you have a better insight than some of us.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Mitchell. I do think that the county would welcome the input from the city of College Park, who has taken the time to really review, consider, and see how this could work. It's been my understanding, kind of, on the outside looking in at this, that the county has to do this. I don't know if the county wants to do this. There have been lots of issues with, and I'm just speaking from my experience here, not that these are my thoughts, but that there seems to be from residents who have testified in the county and from the county council members, my experience with them, that there is concerns of overcrowding, inadequate public facilities, and now the fact the state is forcing them to implement this process always sort of kind of, I think, can rub people the wrong way. So when it comes to common sense solutions to problems that College Park sees, I think it would be welcomed. Again, will they adopt all of them? Who knows? But I think as long as we make our voice heard, we actually have a chance to mold it in the way that would be best for the city.
Thank you. All right. So looks like we need to send the letter, or prepare the letter for the next week's meeting, right? For the council adoption. And I see the Four Cities Coalition will be also meeting on April 23rd, Thursday, on that week. And we can probably have additional discussion there too. And there's something coming in the agenda as well. I mean, we'll be discussing tonight what the agenda will be. It might be a good idea to discuss there. Councilmember Hugh?
Yes, I'm looking at this letter and the recommendations that we currently have, and I think they're all solid. I understand the points that Councilmember Simmons made, that how they may just reject it. If we could tailor it so that we have our priority of these points, and then a secondary part, like if you would also entertain this, because I think our points are all valid and need to be heard, but whether they'll respect it or not, it's like, let's go for this, but and see if they disagree with this, but also have these other ones that we're thinking of striking it out. Like, I don't want that to be unheard.
Right. How about if I crafted the letter in order of priority? Does that?
Yeah, I think that's a nice balance. I think maybe.
So these are our main asks, and then another paragraph that, however, these are pressing issues that we hope you could also consider as well. But these are our main asks.
Okay.
Can staff put the draft before it goes out to the public? Published on on Friday, so you have 2 more days maybe. Asking too much.
If I could add to that, and I obviously heard Councilmember Oates saying, let's not try to include everything. Let's prioritize. So I mean, maybe that's the more internal discussion that happens, because I kind of like that route. But I do think if we can have some sort of recognition in here that housing is an issue that we care deeply about, and this is an important thing that we're considering, that we're glad those kind of
thank you
kind of things.
All right, is the staff good with all the feedback to go with the letter? Okay, thank you. Appreciate your work. Appreciate it. All right, so finally we have come to the public safety assessment and police services study, and I'd like to thank many residents who have been waiting, quite a few of them online. Appreciate your patience. Thank you. And this will be again taken by Ms. Hedgepeth.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Again, for the record, my name is Michelle Bailey Hedgepeth. I'm the Deputy City Manager. And I appreciate the opportunity to talk more about the the public safety assessment and police services study. I'm going to keep my remarks concise because I figure that people will probably want to ask us more questions. So I will limit my comments on the slides, and especially to the late hour. Let me see if I can. Okay. So we're just looking at we're first talking about what the study will examine. We want a structured process that has an objective way that we can evaluate how the municipality services are delivered. We currently we're going to look at the service demands, crime trends, response times, geographic coverage, and then we're also going to look at the structure and governance and oversight. We're also going to explore a couple of different models: our current contracted service model, shared services, standalone department, and do some side-by-side metrics so that we can look at that. What we will also incorporate is business and resident perspective. We also want to have we want to create information that is transparent and also from the standpoint that has an objective finding. That's why we're looking at having a study. So just to say, what has changed since 2018? Well, some big changes are the fact that we've had a whole change in the Maryland law and the repeal of the LOBR, which is the Law Enforcement Officers' Bill of Rights, and the establishment of accountability boards. That's kind of changed the way policing has evolved in the state of Maryland. Also, we've got just this whole idea of just new technology that has come online since 2018 more rapidly. We had some, we have body cameras are the norm, tasers are the norm. Not in 2018, you had tasers, but they're different and they're actually more expensive. There are other issues that we've had that wages, benefits, and training have drastically changed since 2018. There's been, just like everything else, we have a 30% inflation from 2018 to 2026. And that's really reflected a lot in police officers' equipment, fuel, technology, everything. So the decision or the future decision that you're going to make, because I'm used to making decisions at work sessions, so this will come back to you at a separate item, so pardon the decision today. Whether or not to authorize a formal solicitation and a comprehensive study of the police services study. Again, that last one was done in 2018. I've got notes, and I think my memo goes through a lot of information, and I'll be happy to kind of go back through some of that stuff with you. What it will do is that it'll objectively look at our service levels. It'll look at alternatives. It'll also have staff to kind of look at where we are and have the consultant to help us to put this all in one study. I think it would not, the one thing that we're asking for in regards to having a study is having a third party to help with this, so it's not just the fact that staff is making this decision and making this recommendation to you. I want to thank Jatinder and Ed for their help. We are here, they've been here and been we're able to answer really more in-depth questions, but I just want to thank them for all the work that they've done so far to kind of help me to get through this. The last four things are: what will the study go through? Community need, evaluation of that current structure again, the contracting and shared services opportunities, and then various public safety options. The last slide is the timeline. I know that's aggressive, but I'm aggressive in trying to get things done because you guys have a lot of things that you want done, and probably so that you can kind of make some future decisions. So we'd like to get a selection process started. Some of the data gathering and community input we'd like to do this summer and to the early fall. We'd like to bring an initial draft to you in early fall, September, October time range, and then a final presentation I'd say before Thanksgiving, because doesn't everybody want to talk about police and turkeys at the same time? So the last portion would be then a 28 budget, maybe possible discussion. I also wanted to add in my presentation a brief clarification on tax differential. When we're talking about tax differential, this had come up before. College Park has about approximately a $4 billion assessable tax base. their tax differential is something that basically from the citizen's standpoint is that you don't want to have double taxation. So your tax, the tax differential refunds you an amount, refunds the citizen amount from the county's tax for funds that are spent by the city for services. So in the case if the city had a full public service, a full public safety, full service public safety department, it would be about a $4 million tax differential. But that would really include a full public safety contingent. And so I just want to make that clear from that standpoint. But the city, in turn, your residents would get 11 cents off of their county tax, but the city would have to raise the city tax by 11 cents. So it would be a wash, but it would be, that's how tax differential would work. So I wanted to make sure that I was clear on that and that the $4 million could be available if the council did want to consider that with a full service police department. But I know that there's more questions, and I know that it's a late hour, so I'm here and I'm going to sit right down. Mr. Jatenter, and we're going to meet up at the table. Does that make sense, guys? So I'll get off here.
Yeah, please do come, our public safety team.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Can I start first, if that is okay? I'm sure everyone will have lots of questions and comments. So I'd like to thank staff for doing this, but before that, I'd like to thank our residents who actually are the one whose comments actually brought this up, because in the survey we ran in 2025, they repeatedly mentioned that public safety is one of their top priority, and also in the budget survey, that's the same kind of comments we received. So I'd like to start by thanking our residents for bringing this up, and because of your comments, we are actually doing this, considering this a study. And the other thing I'd like to point out that tonight, what we have in front of us is to whether we should be going ahead with the study. We are not deciding whether we should be starting a police department or not. So it is, if it happens, the next phase. So I see that so lots of people have been sending comments that we are actually deciding that is not the decision we are making. And thank you, Ms. Hexbeth, for fantastic work, and you captured, I think, majority of the points, including the tax differential, which is heavily misunderstood in the community, because College Park actually never experienced this in the past, so we do not blame them what the tax differential could be, but it is a revenue that we can only have if we have our own police department. It's a big revenue. I just want to hit on...
Mayor, I'm sorry, but we do get tax differential for other services that we provide.
Exactly.
Yes, so we do for
public works,
for code enforcement, for lots of things that we do, lots of services that we provide over and beyond the county. So we do actively seek public, and especially even for fire departments. So when we make donations,
it is I'm talking about in the context of police department, because we never had this in the past. So one thing I like to see is is what kind of services we are getting as part of the Prince George's PGPD's patrol service. And this is something in 2018 study they did not quite go in depth. What appears to be what we are getting is 2 BITS officers and 2 COPS officers and some investigation / detective service, crime analysis service. And that's something would be very important to quantify. The reason I'm asking, as you mentioned, College Park has grown quite a bit, and because of that economic growth, we will be getting quite a bit of tax differential numbers, which is a revenue. $4 million is a lot of money. And we do have quite a few other jurisdictions in Prince George's County that actually they run their entire police budget, annual budget, less than $4 million. Like our neighboring city, town of Byron Heights, their annual police budget is $1.1 million, and they have about 11 staff, including 10 sworn-in officers. So that is very important. How much how much, how can I quantify the numbers of services or amount of services we're getting as part of the patrol services?
Mayor, are you asking that? So the question that you're asking, so what the county is your primary responder, and that has a series of overhead that they provide for the town. For the city. Much like you're saying, there are specific officers that are provided, but also they're providing the overall service from the standpoint they are acting as your main police department. Correct. So there are certain overhead costs that entails, and that's what they're really crediting you for as a municipality. And because of the size and scope of the number of calls, and what I'll let Mr. Daniels probably let you know the number of calls per year that they are providing, but they are your primary service provider, and that's the reason why you are not eligible, let's say, for any tax differential at this point, because they operate as your chief, they operate as your detectives, they respond to all issues in RMS and everything like that. So, it is quantifiable to an extent, but at the same time, it's hard to quantify because the calls for service also dictate that per year. So we can give you the numbers of what your calls for service for the year are, and then you can kind of take that information. I guess the one thing I want to kind of stick this back to is that the public safety assessment and services study will determine those norms for you, and they will provide you with what the norms would be for a city this size with the call volume and the crime statistics that you have. And then that way, because it's kind of like when we're talking about, let's say, a Berwyn Heights or this city or that city, you're sort of comparing apples to oranges. Because, yes, you could have a city with a very small police force, but they also could be 1 mile large. College Park is 5.6 miles. We got the University of Maryland. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's all these things, and that's why the study is so important. So I'm hoping I'm answering that question.
No, I understand. Yeah, I'm not suggesting that we must be having what Bjorn Hire says. The point I'm trying to make that when I'm just making my comments so that could be part of the scope of the study. That's my request. Okay, I can come back with more items. Let's go ahead. Let's give opportunity to other council members. I think Councilmember Mitchell had his hand.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Thank you, colleagues. I want to do a little bit of a level set. So the opportunity for City College Park to have this contract police came about many years ago, prior to me being on the council, through former Mayor Braman. He is the one that orchestrated the initiative with the county, and that's how we were able to get, and the council at the time, to get this contract police department. I believe, and Mr. Young, you can clarify for me, I believe that the vote that we took a year and a half ago in regards to conducting a possibility of conducting a public safety study was not just to clearly focus on the police. It was to focus on policing, public safety, community aspect. And I hear us really honing in on the police department. So I just want to get a level set as to manage the expectations of the study, because I only hear one aspect of that.
Certainly. Yeah, it's a public safety study, and policing is one component,
Excuse me, Mr.
but
Mayor,
there could be
I was
others.
asking Mr. Young. I'm sorry.
Sorry. You're asking, Mr. Young.
Mayor Pro Tem, Councilmember Mitchell, you're correct. The direction that we had received was to really look at more of a public safety study and look at what some of the options would be for the council in terms of coverage. There was a number of items that they wanted us to look at, but mostly just focusing on public safety, how we might improve services, what services might we be able to add, short of forming our own police department, because the police department really was not on the table.
And thank you for that. So I thank you, Michelle, for bringing the report, but can we put something in there to talk about public safety, because that's what a lot of the residents are asking as well.
And I noticed in the comments that there were some questions about the fact that we can do alternative forms of, things that help to ensure public safety, as well as the cameras and things like that we're also looking at. So we can also make sure that we put that in there. But I am looking for direction from the council, so we appreciate your comments, Councilwoman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who's hands us? Councilman Ranker and then Mayor Protem.
Yeah, I would like, I think that this, so there's two issues. One is I think there is a question or a dissatisfaction, at least some folks are unsatisfied with the current response time and those kind of things. And I think that's important to get a handle on and kind of have some hard data on. But I think that this is focusing, it feels a little too heavy on the police side of things. And so I would suggest, really it's a public safety study. And so knowing about what's going on, what's needed, when is crime followed up on, and how, what preventative options. If we invest, where are options to invest? So for instance, social workers, city staff to help out with grants for folks in need, or job applications, or as one of the people here said, community violence interventions or civilian-led crisis response teams. These are the kinds of things that I would want a comprehensive piece. I don't want it to say, oh, there's an issue, so the answer is police. And I feel like it leans a little too heavy on the answer is police, and how do we make sure we get. And then, of course, other questions that I think are really important for us is, what about the overlapping jurisdictions? Are there ways that we could be doing, more with University of Maryland Police Department? Well, so there's other kinds of pieces there, and are the police officers even doing what we would want them to do? So I think those are some of the pieces that I would want to make sure get covered. Thanks.
Thank you. Who's next? Councilmember Simmons. Mayor Protem first, and then Councilmember Simmons, then Councilmember.
Okay, I'll just go quickly. So I also would, I'm sure you probably have done this too, recommend that you talk to Chief Mitchell with the UMPD, because they have addressed public safety kind of uniquely, in that a lot of their calls, they have a sociologist, psychologist, social worker with them on the calls. I know that I couldn't remember the name of the law, but Maryland just recently passed a law, addressing issues that happen with people that have mental illness, or people that have autism or other things. So those kind of things, I think it's really important. For me, understanding the math behind it is really important. I also concur with what my two colleagues before me said, that our residents have said that they're very concerned about public safety. And, if you read what people are saying, that is just, everybody's unified on that, but they're not unified on whether addressing that is going forward with a police force or whatever that is. So I just would really appreciate the mathematical breakdown, almost kind of like an audit. How's the money? Where's the money coming from? What's the money going to be used for? And how we can what best practices we can have to really ensure that our residents are as safe as they can be. I know that there's a lot of different issues too, possibly looking into neighborhood watch or other issues. I appreciated my colleague bringing the fact that a lot of our cameras, which are tools for our police, are old, so, and dysfunctional. So, I sometimes am a little frightened about just all the AIs that are out there looking at us, but I think we need to be mindful of that there are people that, are concerned with that. So I think that we need to take a lot of different things into consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. Who is next? Councilor Simmons.
Thank you. I wanted primarily to associate myself with the comments of my colleagues. I think council members Mitchell and Ranker and Mayor Pro Tem Mackey have made really excellent and varied points, and I've appreciated all of them. I would agree that policing and public safety are not synonymous, so I think it is important to keep that in mind. The thing that I would be really interested to see is potential opportunities for improving or enhancing our contract with the county, as well as other measures.
Yeah, Councilor Hertz. And then
First, I just want to thank you for bringing this to us. I know that it's a topic that a lot of people in the community have a lot of views on, and a lot of people here have a lot of views on, so I'm happy to be having the discussion. I think for myself, I will say I would associate with a lot of my colleagues that I think what's currently framed out is a little bit too much focus on being a police study, and I think that presupposes the question. I think police are an answer to public safety challenges, but I think the study, in my view, should be focused on better understanding what are our public safety challenges as we define that more broadly. I think the first step is having clarity on data. I think the challenge is that call volume and crime statistics don't reflect the reality because people are not reporting or underreporting what is actually happening. So I think that will be an important piece of this. I think after we understand what the actual public safety challenges are, and we have, at least among the council, kind of a better base of facts to work from on, hey, here's what we're seeing, here's what we have identified as the major categories of different types of public safety challenges. I think then we can talk about what steps do we want to take to address those challenges? How do we want to allocate our time and our resources and our people? Is that through police, through changes to contract police, through other things? Is that more CCTV cameras? Is it more education and outreach to combat sexual assault? Is it better lighting? I think there's a lot of both on the kind of personnel and operations, but also communications and infrastructure that should be a part of how we address the challenges, but helping us first, let's understand the facts, understand the data of what are the challenges, and then have us try to prioritize that and bring forward what are the steps what are the interventions from a policy perspective that we'd like to make. But I think that's how I would frame what I'm hoping for out of a public safety study. And I think what was presented was a lot too focused on the police aspects.
So Councilor Hernandez first, and then Hugh. Or Councilor Hugh first, I think. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Just remind me, and this is also for the public, when was this contract police program started?
I think it was 2005 or so.
2004 was the first one, and then the 2008 we renewed the contract. Yeah, you have two contracts.
So when was the last time?
It actually predates back into the 90s, but the contract was formalized in 2004. Sorry.
Okay. Yeah. And when was the last time we reviewed these contracts, and how they operate? And because it seems like the largest complaint is response time and accountability. So when was this contract last reviewed, and is this something that would come before council in closed session or otherwise?
The last time that we entered into a contract was 2008. We regularly meet with the police department, but it is something that we can bring back to you in a closed session for specific items after talking to the town attorney and city attorney.
Yes, I would recommend that once we have the existing contract, but to discuss any changes or issues under the existing contract that would occur, especially to address any legal issues, would be done in closed session.
Thank you.
So is that something we can consider as part of this as well?
Closed session.
Yes, I think there's certain issues that could be dealt with in closed session, but we need to confer with the city attorney on how we would address them. Does that make sense, Councilman?
On this current study that we're looking at, in conjunction with public safety and the results we're looking for at that point, and come back and renegotiate this contract.
I would say that's one of the, I think that could be one part of the issues, right, Stephanie?
Yeah, I would work with city staff to define the scope of what our discussions would be and make sure that we are in compliance with the Open Meeting Act, the Open Meetings Act.
Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Hernandez?
I've been waiting 2 years to make comments on this statement. I've been asking for this public safety study, policing study for quite some time, and I recognize that often other priorities come up, but I'm truly grateful that it is now in front of us, and even just from the comments alone that we received from public comment, it's actually pretty eye-opening to see, how divisive it is. It gives me pause. But I do have, I don't want to talk about a solution this evening. I do want to talk about identifying a problem, right, and putting it out there. I am concerned that this conversation is in public because, and I can only speak to my experience with classified information. You don't talk about sources and methods, and you don't talk about vulnerabilities. So I'm going to try to navigate through here some of the concerns, but I do want you all to hear me when I ask for a public safety study. I'm looking for how to, at least the strategic goal here, how do we future-proof the city in terms of being prepared for the growth, the annexations, the additional developments, the more people, the traffic, the just overall growth. If our last contract was in 2008, it's been almost 2 decades, right, since we've really looked at it. And a lot of that, just to give a nod, is relationship building and maintaining those good relationship with the services. I'm just going to rattle off some of the concerns and things that I'd like for, whether it's a public safety study or the policing study, however we want to characterize it. I think when we talked about it originally 2 years ago, it was a collective effort to try to meet everyone in the middle. The concern that really started me off was the fact that in the contract police, the areas of responsibility do not include many of the neighborhoods outside of the immediate adjacent neighborhoods to the university, including Oak Springs, Daniels Park, Crystal Springs, College Park Woods, Yarrow, College Park Estates, many of which have a lot of the folks that...
Sorry, point of information. Yeah. So are you talking about the University of Maryland Police's concurrent jurisdiction or the contract police?
Excuse me, the concurrent... What is it called?
Concurrent jurisdiction.
Concurrent jurisdiction.
Okay.
Right.
I just wanted to
I apologize. That was my. See, I've just been waiting 2 years. I got nervous.
Contract police do provide services.
Yes. I made a mistake. So the University of Maryland's concurrent policing. All right. So here's what I'm looking for. Right. First off, let's define what public safety means and how we have a measurable outcome. I've heard from many residents that we need a police force. I've also heard from other residents that College Park is a very safe place to live. Let's identify what it means because that's what we're measuring up to. We have so many different vehicles that have been proposed here, solutions including informational campaigns to lighting to an actual police force. Once we have that clearly identified, I really want us to take a look at, and I don't want to do this publicly, at the gaps and vulnerabilities that we're currently experiencing. Anecdotally, I can share with you that there have been at least 5 occasions, and they're always around the same time of the year, that I just colloquially say we got hit, right? We got hit in this neighborhood, the whole street, broken windows, airbags taken. Obviously, this is, one-time incidents, 2-time incidents, but those grab the attention of residents. My concern, obviously, it's my concern that there's criminals out there that do it, and there's always going to be criminals. It's what does the follow-up and response look like by our police, by our police services to those residents? I have heard anecdotally that some people have received a slip of paper and said, "Hey, this is like your ticket number," and that is just so deeply impersonal. as I've learned more about policing, I understand that our calls to services aren't necessarily something that we in our contract pay for. If that means us either paying more for that additional service or finding a way to gap that or bridge that gap, I'd really appreciate it. I'd also like, just from all the conversations I've had with our MML partners and like other surrounding municipalities, for there to be a comparison with other municipalities and how their police structure has really impacted their way of governing. I think this is important so that we share it with the residents, right? Not a lot of people are focusing on their local governments, but it's something that we need to know to make an informed decision. I want to say, I heard about the tax differential, but I think it's, and I've said this to everybody, I've said it very publicly, I think it's wildly irresponsible of us to tell the public that that taxes won't be raised, right? I've seen the numbers. I've looked at numbers. I've looked at large focus studies. Year over year, you're going to see some sort of raise. People are expensive. People make mistakes. Liability insurance goes up. The cost of vehicles, bonds, certifications, all of these things are going to cost money. I'm fine to support it if that's what the public wants, but I think it's misguided at best to say that there won't be an additional fiscal responsibility on our city. And I think I've talked to every single one of you individually and personally. I'd be excited to support something like this, but not for the sake of doing it, right? Are we actually addressing a problem? Will it actually enhance our public safety? I do think that short of creating a full police force, there's an opportunity to help fill some of the gaps that are known, and I won't discuss here publicly, about some of the tracking, some of the discrepancies in the numbers that we've seen, and some of the coordination across the 5 agencies that police our city, to include PGPD, Metro Police, MNC PPC, UPMD, and State Police, right? We have the barracks here within the city of College Park. If maybe there's an entity that coordinates them. What I'd like to see from the study, from any kind of study, is recommendations that take all of those data, all of those infrastructures into consideration, because we do have we have a unique solution here, right? I think it was Director Bader was talking about how we have a unique community. We might have a unique solution, and that might just be enhancing our current system, or it may mean having some College Park bike police, or I don't know, we bring the horses. So it's there's a number of different options. I just don't want to pigeonhole ourselves in here because we just don't know the numbers. So,
thank you. Is there first bite, everyone?
Can I interrupt council for just a moment? I would advise that, if we're going to talk about needs for our future contract, I think that that would be something that we should reserve for staff and then have our discussion, and we could bring it back to council after we have, studied the issue and advised you, but I don't want us having negotiations in public.
I concur.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Jordan, probably not. Okay, you're fine. That's okay. You don't have to.
I concur with what all has
Thank
been
you.
said. Especially, it is a very important issue, and it's very important to the residents. And I appreciate all the many faceted approaches that people have talked about. I also concur that what we're deciding tonight is to do a study, and not what comes after that. And so I wouldn't want to imply that we were, but the study itself I'm very supportive of.
Thank you. Councilmember Mitchell?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I'm going to be brief. I, too, echo the concern that Councilman Hernandez had about us going into closed session, because I'm concerned about the discussions, and we talk about tax differential, the relationship with the county, all that is out here in an open discussion and dialogue. And I don't want it to be dismantled because we are going forward and having further deliberations about that. That is my concern. And I just thought that we would be in a better position by going to a closed session to have more free conversations about that because it's very sensitive. This is very different. We're the only ones of 27 municipalities who are doing this. And I don't want this to be something that now we have eyes looking on us and something could happen.
And I would just add, though, I want to keep it straight, that any closed session would be fully in compliance. I would advise you to make sure that we are in compliance with the requirements for going into closed session.
Yeah, some of the things Councilor Mitchell mentioned, like tax differential, those are public information, but the contract policing contract could be done in closed session. So we have some limitations.
I appreciate it, Mr. Mayor, but I guess I have real big concern that the conversations we have tonight and what goes out in people's social media the next day is going to cause a concern for us. And I personally am not willing to be put on a mantelpiece to try to defend, deter comments made by another person. I'm going to put it right here on the table. And I think for my colleagues, that is the concern. So that's why I was asking as a question, because I just know what will happen in 24 hours from today.
Certainly. What is happening? Oops. Stanley. So it's 11:15. Still a few minutes. I know public safety is a broad topic, but I do really think policing is still, even though it's a pretty old tools, but it still is one of the main tools used by the community to enforce public safety. I'm not saying this is the only tool, but this is one of the major ones, so we shouldn't be ignoring it.
So can I just, so what I hear Councilmember Mitchell, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but you would like all of us to be kind of unified voice on how we're approaching public safety and not, sort of determining outcomes or making assessments at the current time. We want to let this study do its work. Is that a?
Councilman Ranker, you are 100% correct that we need to be on the same page with this. And I said what I said before, and I'm going to stick by that.
Thank you, Councilor Hernandez. Second bite.
Well, it's more of a response. I'll reserve my second bite. I listen. It's chaos. The thing fell on the floor. Battery died. Just to respond to Councilmember Mitchell's comment and Councilmember Rinker's inquiry, I just feel like we're all going to have different opinions on this, and that's okay. I think that it is, as you can tell just from the public comments, it is a very divisive discussion item. So for us to make a decision as a body how we're going to talk about it, like when we talk to the public, kind of puts puts restrictions on us. I don't think that that's right. I think Councilmember, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, Councilmember Mitchell, but we don't need to go out from this chambers and poorly talk about someone else regarding this topic. I think that's more targeted. But I think everyone has their right to say whatever they want to say. And as everyone can tell, this is an issue that's going to garner some passionate discussion. Oh my God, it's late. No, it's okay. It's better than the mic. Yeah, so I mean I'm not gonna accept like someone telling me that I can't talk about a certain issue how I want to talk about it. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
But I recognize that this is a very contentious topic, and when I talk with the public, I will say, hey, this is my opinion on this, and like not that of the mayor and councils.
Certainly, Councilmember Ranker.
Yeah, I mean, just briefly, I want to make sure we're looking at long-term solutions, even something that Council Hernandez mentioned earlier. Made me think of, are there positions that we as a city can add outside of, a police force that can help address? Those are the kind of questions that I want to make sure we're asking, and to make sure that whoever is chosen for this study does not have a presupposition or a bias towards, here's what right. And I do want to just really commend staff for bringing this before us and committing to this, because this is a priority. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments?
Just, Mayor, Council, I think we've heard you, and I think when we bring back the item, it'll have a lot of this reflected in it, and then that way you can see that your comments are reflected, and I appreciate the feedback, because we just, and it's good we have to throw something out there so that you can take a look at it, and so this was really helpful. So thank you for sticking with us tonight.
Thank you. Thank you. Sullivan, Tony. Let's go to the last item. I think we have one more item, the Four Cities agenda. Staff is good with that? Okay. Thank you. Four Cities agenda items, and this is happening next Thursday, correct?
Hi, Mayor. I got a call from Greenbelt today.
Mm-hmm.
The next Four Cities meeting will not be held next week. They're looking at scheduling issues. They're looking at May 14th, May 7th, May 21st. I actually told them May 14th was out of the question for our group because there's another meeting going to take place. May 7th, I think Berwyn Heights had an issue with May 7th, so I'm thinking they're leaning towards the 21st. I'm not sure. I haven't heard back from her today. She hasn't received word
But
yet.
still, we can talk about the agenda.
We can talk about it. If we don't have to make a decision tonight. However, we can talk about it because we do have more time.
I don't need to make a decision. So the fire chief was coming to the Four Cities meeting, and she had a date of April the 30th.
But that needs to be
That's why
rescheduled
she's
then.
talking to the fire chief. I was wondering why she was talking to the fire chief. However, I did not know that. Okay.
I just knew that last week, seeing her at Councilman Denoga's listening session.
I do not have April 30th on my list that she gave me.
Okay.
So I believe April 30th may be out of the question.
Is there any item council members want to add?
Mayor, and I apologize. The council discussed at one time that there was an issue. They were all concerned with the cost of Pepco. So I was wondering if we can get Pepco to come out and give a presentation on the increases that they've had. And I knew that would take up a lot of time along with the fire chief coming. So I was hoping that we would approve Pepco giving a presentation to the Four Cities, but it's your agenda, not.
Yeah, we talked about that in the past meetings.
Correct.
Is there any objection to bringing Pepco? Looks like yes, no?
No objection, Mr. Mayor.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't have an objection to that either.
Okay. So that's one item, and I don't think we should be giving more than two items.
Actually, if there's going to be two presentations, it's going to be long, and they don't want the meetings to go.
Yeah. I really wanted to see what other communities are thinking of ADU. If we had the meeting on next Thursday before the deadline, but
It
looks
won't
like
be next Thursday, but as soon as I get the agenda items, I can pass that along to council even before the agenda is approved.
I would even suggest making our neighboring jurisdictions aware of our letter if they, are also thinking about things,
Okay.
chiming in. So not necessarily within the four cities, agenda, but just in terms of, helping our neighbors know what we're thinking.
Will do.
Certainly. Okay.
Okay.
Those are the two items.
Thank you.
All right, so we are on number 5, request or status agenda. Did I see any request?
I was going to say, I received two
There's
just
two that
now.
came in during the meeting.
Oh, no, you said not now.
Let's do it next time for me.
Yeah, I do see.
2 minutes.
Oh my goodness.
I would, you know, just based on the conversation.
Who is that? Who did it submit? Is it Mr. Ranker? Customer?
Yes.
Okay.
Just based on our conversations around the importance and our care around education and literacy, just to put it on the agenda that we would kind of do a comprehensive look on what we're doing, what CP Cup is doing, and where there are needs and where we, you know, could be targeted.
Okay, that's number 1. The other one is the child care task force. Is that right? Mr. Orson.
And that was, I raised this on Saturday, but a report went to council. We need something from staff in order to say how we're going to follow up on addressing the child care challenge.
So there are 2 items. Can I approve both of them together? Is there any objection? All in favor, say aye. Any opposed and abstention? Both are added to the master list.
I had one other question on the things on the master list. There was something for April related to MNPCC budget. Is something going to come before us on that?
Staff, what does staff?
Staff is working with planning department on the Maryland National Capital Park and planning budget. I don't know if you had a reply today.
No, I don't have an update for you tonight. We'll talk with our lobbyists tomorrow and talk internally and get back to you. Okay.
Okay. But it has to be done before the budget hearing. When is the MNCC budget hearing?
That's what I'm checking on.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Okay. All right. That's all we have, right? Okay. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Is that no? Is that this work session? So we don't have anything else. I just want to make sure that we don't have anything. You're not missing anything. Yeah, that's. You can do adjourn. Okay. Who is first? So, Ranker and Hernandez. All in favor, say aye.